the double cheesy. For a limited time only, at participating
Savoy has broken a 16-year
resolution includes then don't miss this flash sale. Save up to 70% off in-store clearance. More plus buy 2 or more and save the tax. Finally, a resolution you can keep. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details.
the new double cheesy melted. The mouth-watering 100% Canadian beef patty, cheese and goodness, with even more melty, cheesy sauce on top. Topped with pickles, then crispy and grilled. You don't just eat it. The double cheesy melt, only at McDonald's. For a limited time only, at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Reason number 59 why Nissan is built for our winter. Because when winter storms make on-road feel like off-road, we've got you. The Nissan Rogue comes standard with intelligent all-wheel drive and remote engine start to conquer even the harshest winter conditions. Right now, you can lease a 2026 Rogue S for 0.9% for 36 months. Visit your local Nissan dealer today or nissan.ca for more details. Conditions apply.
Visit your local Edmonton and area Nissan dealer for more information.
The Jason Gregor Show. On Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
30 seconds. Won't steal it. The Devils may have something really short-handed. Here's Connor Brown, center pass.
Well, fantastic. Wednesday afternoon, having a little bit of a hearing problem here. So I got to make sure I can hear what is being said because I can't hear anything right now. So we'll have to see what is going on, Connor Halley. So hopefully we're on the air. Are we on the air? We're on the air. All right. Welcome to the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at playalberta.ca. So we'll have to, one of you guys got to come over and fix the headset so we can hear. Otherwise, can't have any guests on because I can't hear what anyone is saying. So we will try to sort out the issues as we go live on the show. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's just the speaker here. Something's off with it. So we'll try to figure it out and then we'll go from there. So we are going to have Mike Rupp joining us momentarily on the show. We also will hear from Ty Emberson. Had a one-on-one with Ty earlier this afternoon as the Oilers skated at noon. Now, the Lions obviously have 11 forwards for probably at least one more game for the Edmonton Oilers. I guess there's a chance Leon Draisaitl could play tomorrow, but I'm going to guess no. And then he'll return Saturday against the Capitals. So they got 11 forwards. Alec Regula was skating as a forward all day today because he only played 3 minutes last game. Their 6 defensemen are playing very well. The Oilers, did they lose last night because they played 11 forwards? God, no. Do you think if they would have called up somebody from the American League, that was going to inject some energy and life into them? That first period was atrocious. Second period was okay, but not much better. They had a very good third period. Right? New Jersey was on their heels. The Oilers, they hit goal posts, they hit crossbars, they couldn't score. But you can't win when you only play 20 minutes. Or usually you can't win when you only play 20 minutes. And the Oilers, for whatever strange reason, just cannot win 3 games in a row. It's the most interesting story of the regular season for the Oilers. And the other problem is right now, they can't win on home ice. You look at their month of January, the Oilers had 11 home games and 4 on the road. This was supposed to be a month where they were going to take advantage of things and get on a run. It hasn't happened. Mainly because they lost to Philly at home. They lost to LA at home. They lost to the Islanders at home. They lost to the Devils at home. Now, on the road, they're pretty good, 3-0-1, beating Winnipeg, Vancouver, Chicago, and losing in overtime in Nashville. But home ice so far, they beat Nashville and they beat St. Louis. And that's it. They won 2 out of 6. It's just they need to be more consistent on home ice. Now, you have still 5 games left this month, and they also have their first game of February at home. So they still got 6 games left in the homestand. At minimum, they need to win 4 of those games. Pittsburgh below them in the standings. Washington below them in the standings. Anaheim below them in the standings. San Jose below them in the standings. Minnesota's the only team ahead of them in the standings. Don't give me the excuse that you can't beat New Jersey without Leon Draisaitl, because I don't buy it. Leon Draisaitl's absence, lots of teams play without one player, and they find ways to win. That was just a not very good effort last night for the Edmonton Oilers. Not good enough at all. Disappointing. You basically played 20 minutes. That's it. So we'll see. I would. Their head coach was pretty clear. We weren't ready to play. Start the game, and it cost them. So we'll see where they go tomorrow. They're taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins are in Calgary tonight. Stuart Skinner is going to start in goal. So for the second straight game, the Oilers are going to face a backup. Now, Jake Allen's a good backup, but he's still the backup. So I look at the Oilers, and, they're facing Washington again. Washington starter might be playing in Calgary on Friday night. They're going to get another backup. Then you got the Anaheim Ducks. They play in Calgary on Sunday night. And they're into Edmonton on Monday. Could get the backup again. So not only are you playing teams below you, now you're playing the backup. You got to win games. Like, you can't just keep flittering points away against teams that you should beat. Not if you want to finish first. Now, you can say it doesn't matter. Okay. Sure, they had home ice advantage in the Stanley Cup. They didn't win it. Great. But I just look at it historically, home ice advantage helps you. And the Edmonton Oilers, if there's one thing they're consistent in, they are consistent in making life a little bit harder on themselves than it actually should be. Let's go around the NHL right off the hop here. Brought to you by McDonald's, and $5 meals right now. You can get the McDouble. Maybe you like the sausage McMuffin. You got McDouble, sausage McMuffin meals right now for only the value menu of $5 at participating McDonald's. Stanley Cup winner, ace analyst on the NHL Network, Mike Rupp joins us. Rupper, how you doing?
I'm good, Greg. How you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm all right. Are you a Brady fan?
No, I despise anything New England Patriots. I'm sitting in Dave Reed's office at NHL Network, and he has quite a bit. He's got books. He's got little bobbleheads. He's got Pink Floyd. None of this represents my likings at all.
Oh, okay.
Just getting it out there.
Okay, that one I was kind of surprised. Yeah, never heard.
Actually, let's turn this way.
Yeah, that's better now, right? Yeah. Okay, there you go. A few things to discuss here around the NHL as we're nearing up on game 50. We're getting closer. We've already had some trades. Vegas in there again. They get Rasmus Anderson. They actually save cap space in the deal because they ship out Whitecloud, and Calgary retains half on Anderson. I know we've talked before about the loss of Pietrangelo and Haig. How much do you think the acquisition of Anderson fills it? Like, how much better do you think Anderson is than Zach Whitecloud?
It's an upgrade. an upgrade. How much? I think a pretty good margin. I just don't. I still think you're in a situation where you still don't have a ton of depth. I feel on the back end that you once had. So with the retention that Calgary took on there with Anderson's contract, I mean, it clearly made this work, like you just mentioned, to the ability of having a little bit of a saving even more off the cap. But I wonder if they're going to lean into their top four even more, and you start looking around the league. And I think that there is teams that are going to do it, like the Minnesota Wild are one that are going to probably do that too. And there's a path that I think you can win going heavy minutes from a top four. I mean, if you look back, I was looking at it yesterday, just the three cups of the Chicago Blackhawks. Like, I mean, 2015 was kind of incredible with their top four and how you can lean into that. I think Vegas is probably going to have to lean into that a little bit more. I don't know if Lazan and Korzik or if you get Hutton in there, like, I don't know if those guys are going to be north of 15, 16 minutes. So you might have to go, come playoff time, you might have to go pretty much 25 across the board or somewhere in that range. So, I think it's an upgrade. I think the team is better today because of that. They're a team that lives in the now. We've seen that before. I'd like to trade for them.
What about the San Jose Sharks? I actually like that trade for the San Jose Sharks because if there's something they're missing a top 9 winger who can bring some physicality, and he'll chip in his 17 to 22 goals.
So this one's funny because I love him. I love what he brings. I would want him on my team every day of the week. And I have certain things that I look at in my own mind, whether they're right or they're wrong. Everybody can be the judge of that. You're a playoff team potentially in San Jose, and adding a player, if you're a playoff team like Kiefer Sherwood, is awesome. It helps you. But I think if you're a team that adds Sherwood as a line 3 player, you have the ability to make some noise in the playoffs. I don't know if anybody really thinks that San Jose is going to make noise in the playoffs. I think just getting there is going to be a huge, huge plus. I just don't know, like, immediately everyone's like, oh, he's going to be with Macklin Celebrini. He's going to be on that top line. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that, I mean, maybe that's what works and what fits. And maybe you can get that early season magic touch from Sherwood if that's the case. But I don't think that shows that you're a very deep team. So I actually feel like if you had them a little bit deeper, maybe middle 6 or even on that line 3, I think that's the ideal spot. So maybe I'm reading into it too much. I do like the move. I'm kind of curious where he's slotted.
Okay. I think it's a trade that they obviously look to re-sign him. I don't think they're giving up 2 picks just for a rental for a few months. I think obviously they have aspirations to want to sign him, and that makes a lot of sense. You look around the league, Rupper, and in the East, because I know you're out there, and I like to talk to you about the East teams that I don't see as much. The Metro Division, you've got Carolina, 66 points, and then you got a boatload of teams that are hunkered down. The Islanders 59, Penguins 57, the Flyers 54. They got a massive game out of Urson the other day. Washington's at 54. The Devils are at 54. Columbus still might think they're in at 51. I think the Rangers are done. I'll say that. Yeah. Out of those teams, though, Islanders, Penguins, Flyers, Caps, Devils, Blue Jackets, like, none of them really excite me. Right? The Capitals are probably the one team that I think are underachieving due to some injuries and such. But what do you make of the Metro Division and maybe just kind of how weak it is after Carolina?
So I don't believe that any team in the Metro is a team that I believe can be a contender and win the cup. And I'll put Carolina in that category. Now, that coming out of that division or maybe going through that division as far as maybe rounds 1 and 2 could be a path of the least resistance in a lot of ways, because I think that it's wide open. So I think it's about just getting in. I would say I would agree with you. The Washington Capitals are the team that maybe checks more boxes. We've seen it last year what they could do. I think that you're going to look for them to be better as the stretch goes on, down the stretch, I should say. But after that, I mean, you're talking about the Devils they're putting it together a little bit now. I mean, it's just even winning whatever they're at 4 or 5 games, they haven't really gained any ground. Like, I mean, it's so tough to gain ground and to find themselves in a playoff spot. Columbus, with that coaching change with Rick Bowness, I mean, they won 3 in a row. They lose yesterday. Like, I don't know. Probably belief wise, Washington, and then the team that I'm intrigued with the most is probably the New York Islanders. I think the New York Islanders are the one team actually in the Metro that could potentially make some noise, because I think they've got the best goalie in hockey right now, and the way he's playing, and Ilya Sorokin. And I have a feeling that if they can just stay in this spot, whether it's 2 or 3 in the Metro, I think they're going to be looking for a player with some term on the future. I don't think they're going to go renting anybody for just this year as far as a pending UFA, but I can see them absolutely kicking the tires on a Jordan Kyrou. And if they can go and maybe pull that off and get some more goals, I think they're a team that just has the it factor for me, and they can make some noise. But I don't think any of the teams in the Metro, I would feel very confident saying, oh, yeah, I could see them going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Okay. Yeah, I would tend to agree with you on that. What do you make of the Oilers' inability to win 3 games in a row?
I don't know. I mean, it's tough because you would expect a team to go on a bit of a run, and even if it's not even a run like we've seen them go in the past, like winning 3 in a row, like if you're going to think about teams or top end or top third teams in the league, you'd have to assume that they can win 3 in a row and probably do multiple times throughout the year, right? Like I think that's kind of something. No, I think they're a team. A lot of times when I watch Edmonton, and I do like how they've been playing as far as the season has progressed. But it's like, didn't they get shut out 2 games in a row just before this last one against New Jersey?
Well, they shut out the opposition 2 in a row.
Shut
and
out. Sorry. They shut out. That is right. That's right. You had the Ingram and Jari shutouts. But they're a team that can have games like that. And then there's times where it looks like I feel like there's stretches where they're kind of hemorrhaging opportunities against, and it's still not consistent enough for me with Edmonton, and maybe that's why you see not being able to string 3 together. But I mean, I don't pay attention overly to it because I do think they're playing way better than they were earlier in the season. I think that this is a team that is going to continue down that path. And so, yeah, I'm not overly concerned with that. Some years are just weird like that. I mean, heck, some teams will win 8 in a row, 9 in a row, and we'll talk about them, and then they stink. So I'd rather a team that maybe just wins a couple, loses a float that way.
Yeah, it is odd to me that they just can't find any sort of consistency in their game. They'll play really well for 2, which they did, and then it's like they were awful in the first period last night. Their coach, hey, we weren't ready to play. And then they got a little bit better in the second, but they only gave up 17 shots. But, man, they gave up like 6 or 7 5-star chances last night. And Tristan Jarry made that score flattering for Edmonton, I thought. To be honest,
but that third, but see, that's the thing when you talk about their consistency. Then I'm watching that game last night because I'm doing work with the Devils, and it's like that third period was the most lopsided thing you can ask for. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there thinking like Jake Allen was a rock star in that third period. So like that's the thing with that team, that maybe that's just the nature of who they are, and they can go high octane. And then they could have moments where they don't look very good. And, I don't know how much that goes into them not being able to win 3 in a row, but that was a game last night that I thought that third period, I thinking it from the Devil standpoint, it's like, oh, they're losing this game. But Jake Allen, I think he stood tall for them.
Oh, in the third period. Yeah, he did. Right. The Oilers did hit 2 bars too. I find the Oilers have been consistently inconsistent this year. And the schedule here right now is something they haven't yet to take advantage of at home ice. They had 11 home games in the month of January, and so far they have only managed 2 wins. They still have 5 games left at home, so we'll see if they can make up for it. But 2 out of 6 is not the January they wanted on home ice. But they're lucky because outside of Vegas, there's not a lot of competition in the Pacific Division. What do you make of the Dallas Stars? Now, they did have a huge win last night over Boston. Great goal, by the way, by Jason Robertson. What a shot. But I look at the Stars, and you know what? They got into a little bit of a funk by their standards. And, you know, I know you had an interesting point about on the rundown about Panarin, right? You cover the Rangers, and, you know, he's clearly the biggest name and the most skilled player that we know is available. The Rangers have said he's available, so it's not a debate. He's available. Why do you think Dallas is the right fit? And is there other teams you think could take a big swing at him?
So, I mean, obviously for Artemi Panarin holds the cards here because he's got the full no move. So I believe that the Dallas Stars are a team he would lift that for. And probably more so just because they're a team that has potential of winning a cup. And I think that's what Artemi Panarin ultimately wants to chase in this situation he's in. They need him. What's been kind of crazy, I wouldn't revere this team as being a team that lacks offense, but going through this last stretch, yeah, they are. They weren't getting the shot volume. They weren't getting certain looks. Like, they need a shot in the arm, I think, to help their team. And they've got a little bit of a luxury maybe with the Sagan situation there where you can, I don't know, go and try to give your team that shot in the arm. So I think Artemi Panarin would be a fantastic fit, and I think there would be potential for an extension in Dallas. But yeah, I don't know. That Dallas is a team that I don't know what to make of them, man, because I like them, and they were fantastic last year in the playoffs, and I've liked them for years. But for whatever reason, for me, they're a team that just always they always leave you wanting more at the wrong time. So they were pretty close when that Quinn Hughes trade went down to Minnesota. Like, the Dallas Stars were pretty close to Colorado, I think, as far as only like 4 or 5 points off the pace of Colorado. That's changed in a big way, and that's with Colorado kind of dropping some games lately too. So yeah, Dallas is they got all the pieces. I think they need some fresh blood there, and whether it's Artemi Panarin or someone else that's out there, I think they need a little bit of a facelift here. It just seems a little stagnant with that team, and now certain things that were in place always seem to be slipping.
Yeah, and that, you know, the season's long, so that will happen. There'll be a little bit of ups and a little bit of downs. Darcy Kemper left last night's game injured with the Los Angeles Kings, which puts his status for the Olympics in question. This team Sweden, you know, Brodin's already been announced; he's out for sure. They've got Victor Hedman, who they're really sure about. Erik Karlsson, it sounds like he's going to play tomorrow, maybe in Edmonton. So he could be coming back, but they got a lot of injuries on that team. How much input, like the Minnesota said, hey, Brodin's not going, right? Like, that was their decision. And I know NHL players sign their contracts, but it is negotiated in the CBA that you can go to the Olympics. Guys who are kind of on the cusp here, Rupper, how much say do you think the team's going to have over a player? Do you think the player, as long as he plays 2 games or 1 game before the Olympics, is that enough to get him to go?
It's funny you're bringing this up right now. We were talking yesterday. I think there's something here I want to dive into a little bit more and just have this conversation, because I don't think teams have any say in this, and I think they should. I think there should be more, and what I mean by that is I don't think you're going to have situations where GM/coaches tell a player you shouldn't go. I think publicly they would get killed. It just would not be. But there's many situations out there that this is a conversation that should be had and should have been had already, probably. And I wonder how many actually have taken place. When you look at, let's use an example, and there's a million of them. I believe that your number one priority is your NHL hockey club. That has to take priority over the Olympics. And what I mean, everybody signed up on players going to the Olympics, and if something, heaven forbid, happened there, that's just the cost of admission. But if you're going there or rushing to go there and you're injured now, maybe aren't fully healed, or we don't know where you're at. I think you have to go, especially if you're a team that's going to be in the playoffs or has aspirations of making the playoffs. Your number one needs to be the NHL team, and what can get you ready the best for after the Olympics to have that home stretch and be able to produce for your team. Willie Nylander is a perfect example. In and out all season long with this bad groin. I guarantee you we're going to see him there at the Olympics. And it's hard. Like, if I was a player, I'd do it too. I'd probably hide an injury so I can make sure I'm going to the Olympics. Like, I understand it from that standpoint. But if I'm a Leafs fan or Leafs management or ownership, I'm sitting there thinking, like, we need him to be healthy. If the Toronto Maple Leafs don't make the playoffs, I mean, that could be a $40-50 million swing. And I think from the teammate standpoint, I'd be very disappointed when our best or one of our best players is not available. Like, I just think that it's very fair to ask players to do what's best for your respective club that you go to battle with every single day, and quite frankly, that pays you to play in the National Hockey League. I just don't know if we're seeing that happen. And I think you can see some of these cases because there's arguments that some players might play their first game in the Olympics. They haven't played all season long, and we're still thinking about that. Or players that may be rushing back early from injury to get a couple games in before. I think this is a real conversation that needs to be had, and I can understand if there's some frustration, even from fans, about doing what's right for your NHL club.
Yeah, wow. It will be fascinating. I get it, right? Like for some players, like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to play in the Olympics, right? One time, because depending on your age and, depending on health, look at a guy like Braden Point. He might miss this year's Olympics, and who knows if he'll be back in 4 years. So I could see why players want to play. No question. I could see it in an organization, though, saying, hey, if you can play in one regular season game before the Olympics, then you can go to the Olympics. If you can't play, then you can't go to the Olympics. That would be kind of my rule, and that's what I would do. Now, some guys might want to rush and go back, but hey, there still has to be some sort of give and take between your team who pays you year round than than just going to the Olympics.
100%. It's a conversation. I'm not saying that the team should have the right of saying you are not going. But I think there's this, especially in this type of year, schedule wise and injury wise. I mean, just look at Team USA. There is a boatload of players who are unhealthy, that are not playing right now, that are playing, that are still clearly banged up. And everyone's just supposed to be okay with them going to the Olympics. Like, if you're a fan base or ownership of a team, I'd be disappointed. So I'm saying it from a standpoint, if I was ever good enough to play in the Olympics, I would do anything I could to go. So I understand where the players are coming from, but I think these NHL teams need to be more of a priority.
Awesome. Rupper, great stuff, buddy. We'll talk to you on the rundown on Friday.
Awesome, buddy. Enjoy.
There you go. That's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network. And now, interesting, because we got a lot of texts coming in, 833-401-1440. Right now, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid are the only Oilers that are going to the Olympics. Now, Josh Szymanski's in the Oilers organization, plays for the Condors. He's going. So they do have 3 in the organization. There's some injuries mounting, specifically for Sweden. What does that mean for Ekholm? We'll talk about that and more next when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Cantork has turned 25. That's right, 25 years of building tools so good, they practically torque themselves. Hard work and innovation equals problem solved. See our latest designs at cantork.com.
Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you. Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
When it comes to sports in Edmonton, Jason Gregor is a must-listen. He brings you the inside scoop with guests from across North America. If it matters in sports, you'll hear it here first. Gregor rolls out weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports 1440.
This Sunday, it's high-impact family fun that's second to none.
See Oil Rumble 3, an afternoon of wrestling in Ice District. Catch all the slap shots and suplexes as your Edmonton Oil Kings battle the Saskatoon Blades.
It's Family Fun Sunday with face painting, bouncy castles, plus pregame and intermission Love Pro Wrestling matches.
And Calamont Kids food combos are $10 or less. Value that hits harder than a steel folding chair.
Edmonton, Saskatoon, Family Fun Sunday, and Oil Rumble at Rogers Place.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup?
That would be awesome, but completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Wilhock beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhock beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhock beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win cups with salad.
Portions of this hour brought to you by E-Well. Get your power play amped up with E-Well, supplying the city of champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. E-Well.ca is your partner in power.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
You on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. It's the Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game, the OG of lotteries. Lotto 649, 16 mil up for grabs tonight in the classic jackpot of 5 million at PlayAlberta.ca. Also, while you're there, check out the Gregor Show odds boost. We got a few games involving the Penguins and the Flames, the Avalanche, Capitals and Red Wings, and more. So check it out, PlayAlberta.ca. Now, we've had a lot of texts coming in because of the injuries to Team Sweden. They've already announced that Jonas Brodin is out. Okay, so he is not going to go. So they have to find a replacement for him. Also, Victor Hedman is banged up. You've got Nylander, although that obviously wouldn't impact Ekholm. But 2 defensemen. Now, Erik Karlsson has missed 4 games. He's not going to play tonight. That'll be 5. He's supposed to play tomorrow against the Oilers. So, obviously, he would like to get back in. He joked about it earlier on the road trip in Seattle that, hey, he didn't come on the road just to to be here, so he expects to play, and it looks like he is going to play. So when I look at Matthias Ekholm's chances, I don't get a sense that he's going to go, because I don't think the head coach likes him. Right? At the end of the day, Sam Hallam is the head coach, and every coach, there comes down to personal decision. Now they got some depth, make no mistake, right? You've got Lindholm, who's not on the team. You got the big guy in Detroit, Edmondson, who's not on the team. I know Ekholm's a huge fan of his, so I don't think Ekholm's going to go. And Ekholm kind of joked today. He's like, he has a trip planned. He's not canceling his trip yet, so we'll see what happens. Until they hear, they're not going to cancel anything. But I think that's actually a good thing for the Edmonton Oilers. Matthias Ekholm has been to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. Obviously, he was hurt last year. He's 34 years of age. Or is he 36? How old is that? Is he even 36? Geez, I might be underestimating his age right now. Yeah, he's 35. He'll turn 36 this year. If you're an Oiler fan, you don't want him going to the Olympics. You want him resting. 3 weeks off in February could be massive for him. So I don't think he's going to go based on the coach's viewpoint. I remember the coach was going to healthy scratch him in the last game of Four Nations, but then they came down with illness, and Ekholm was ill. He just wasn't as sick as the other guy, so he ended up having to play. But if you look at his numbers up against a lot of those guys, you can make a strong argument that he should be going. But they've got a lot of depth up on the blue line, so he's probably not going to go. Now, Zach Hyman doesn't sound like it, but you can make a strong argument. Connor McDavid even mentioned it today again when he was asked about Sidney Crosby and, McKinnon and playing at the Olympics and all that stuff, and how, hey, it's a short tournament, you want some chemistry. And the plan was that Braden Point was going to play with Connor McDavid. That was the plan. Now, I don't know for sure who was going to be the left winger, but it was going to be Braden Point on the right wing. So Braden Point's gone. It looks like, anyway, unless there's some miracle recovery from him. Like, that didn't look great for his knee. I hope for his sake he can recover, but seems unlikely. So let's say for sure he's out. If Braden Point was the guy that you had, so think about it. Point was the guy. You weren't playing Stone there. You weren't playing Marner there. You're playing Braden Point. So if you look at fit, I would argue, just as a fit, not saying he's a better overall player, but as a fit, Zach Hyman fits there. He plays with McDavid. McDavid excels when Hyman's in the lineup. The numbers don't lie on that. He complements McDavid well, creates space for him with how he plays in the offensive zone. He's excellent on board battles, wins puck battles, gets the puck to McDavid more often. It's a great mix. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to take him, right? If you take Scheifele, you take Bedard, they're still good players, don't get me wrong. But I would look long and hard. If I'm John Cooper and I'm looking at things, hey, Connor, these are the guys you, like, if you're John Cooper, would you call McDavid? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Because you know he's going to say Hyman now. He's biased in a way because he plays with the guy, right? He's never played with those other guys. Doesn't mean they can't have chemistry, but you know you have chemistry with Zach Hyman. So, and the thing, I don't really care that insider, just because they're not talking about it, doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's right. Well, Zach Hyman, I haven't mentioned him, so that doesn't mean he's qualified for it. That's not the point. It's irrelevant to me. I'm talking about based on numbers, based on style, based on the facts that who's top 5 goal scorer amongst Canadians for the last 3.5 years? Zach Hyman. It's not just based on a 20-game run. It's based on 3.5 years. It's a really big sample size. So, and he's an unreal forechecker. If you decide in the tournament you want to play him on the fourth line, you don't think his game would suit a fourth line player? Aggressive forechecker, good and smart defensively, can kill penalties. Like, come on. I don't see how people can say Zach Hyman couldn't fit in. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So they want to pick someone else. That's fine. And they can do it. And ultimately, it might not matter because I think Canada's the favorite for sure in this tournament. Team USA did make a change on their back end. Seth Jones is out and Jackson Lacombe is in. And Montreal fans will be even more upset because Lane Hudson not in. Jackson Lacombe plays in Anaheim, and I think definitely people in Montreal, people on the East Coast, they're probably like, Jackson who? They don't watch him. Jackson Lacombe's a hell of a defenseman, man. Hell of a defenseman. And, that's great news for him. The experience that he will gain being around the best players, it's a huge advantage. But Lane Hudson's a very dynamic player, but I can see why he's not. USA already has a bunch of small defensemen. Why do they need more? That makes no sense. But Jackson Lacombe, don't sleep on him. Guy's got 31 points in 49 games. He had 43 points last year. Like, he's emerged. He is a really, really good defenseman. And, man, can he skate. Excellent skater. So, hey, Greg's, maybe they're going to go off of Bedard and McDavid's commercials. They have chemistry on TV from Chicano. Well, that is true. I guess they hung out for a few days in the commercial shoot. So, maybe that's maybe they should bring Terry Ryan out of retirement. Bring the Moulet out. Why not? That would be fun. Hey, Greg's, I'll give you credit. You're the one guy for over 2 months who's been talking about the Oilers' inability to win 3 games. I kind of thought it was a joke after 30 games, but here it is 50, and it's still a problem. Do you think they'll rectify it? Well, last night was a really good opportunity. They didn't take advantage of it. So now let's look ahead. They beat Pittsburgh. They beat Washington. Now you got Anaheim coming in. You've beaten Anaheim for fun for the last 5 years. For fun. Now, they're a better team this year, but still, you beat them for fun. So it would be a good opportunity, but they still got to beat Pittsburgh, and they have to beat Washington. Now, again, both teams, 3rd game in 4 nights, second half of a back-to-back. Those are scheduled advantages, and you need to take advantage of that if you're the Edmonton Oilers. You're not going to get those all the time. Now, in the playoffs, it doesn't matter, even for everybody, right? Season ends on the Wednesday or the Thursday, then the playoffs start. So you might have one more day's rest when the playoff begins, and that's it. You're playing the same team. You guys have the same schedule, and that's how it works. Right? So the scheduling advantage kind of goes out the window in the playoffs. Right? Unless you win a series in 4 or 5 and your opponent's got to play 7 games. Okay, sure. But once the series on, after you get past that first game, then rest is the same after that. In the regular season, it's totally different. And when you have those advantages set out for you, to me, you need to win those games. And Edmonton, so far, hasn't done it. Like, what is the one element for the Oilers game? If there's one statistic that you would look at this season for the Edmonton Oilers that would say this is the most indicative reason why they're going to lose a game. And it's not, in games they get outscored, okay? Don't be a smart one. I'm talking a stat that's in the game that happens, and guess what? When the Oilers score first, they're 21-1-4. When they don't score first, which is 25 games, they've won 4. Out of 25, they've won 21 out of 26 when they score first. Doesn't take a rocket science to figure out which one helps them score first in games. And in the games when they are, after 2 wins in a row, scoring first in those games is not a strength of their team. Right? It just isn't. And that's a problem. Right? It's a problem. So that to me shows a sign of here's a chance to get off to a good start again, and they can't do it 3 games in a row. And it's led to them losing games. So when will it end? When they decide enough's enough. Until then, it won't. It's not easy. You can't just snap your fingers and say, okay, let's win 3 in a row. Commitment to consistency, and it's still a problem this regular season for the Edmonton Oilers. Quick break. We'll come back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. There is a team, though, that's not really having any problems winning, and winning a lot. We'll talk about it next.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Happy New Year. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for everything in 2025. With your help and your support, we fed almost 500 families. We donated to various charities in the Edmonton area, and we're going to do it again in 2026. Please stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicks things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better and on the rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play, and the specials are a major league win. Pre-game warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts, and play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocksyeg.com.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Edmonton sports fans stay informed with Sports 1440. Stream us. Listen to us on the AM dial. However you consume this radio station, thanks for listening.
The new double cheesy melt at McDonald's. We're talking 2 juicy, mouth-watering 100% Canadian beef patties, 2 slices of cheesy goodness, with even more melty, cheesy sauce on top. Topped with pickles, then crispy and grilled onions. The way it all comes together, you don't just eat it, you melt into it. The double cheesy melt, only at McDonald's. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Does your New Year's resolution include saving money? Then don't miss the store-wide inventory clearance at the Brick. Save up to 70% off in-store clearance items. Buy more, save more on bedroom and dining furniture. Up to 25% off. Save on select major kitchen appliances. Plus, buy 2 or more and save the tax. Finally, a resolution you can keep. The Brick, saving you more. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also, a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.246, Gregor, Hallie, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Wednesday afternoon. Of course, the Oilers back in action, take on the Penguins tomorrow. Stu Skinner will not play, most likely tomorrow night for the Pittsburgh Penguins, because he is starting tonight in Calgary. So there you have it. Now, tonight, some action at Rogers Place as we get to our Oil King report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca. The Edmonton Oil Kings, we were talking about the Oilers' struggles to win 3 in a row. That has not been a problem for the Oil Kings. They are, of course, one of the best teams in the Western Hockey League, coming off a 5-4 win against Tri-Cities, and they are back in action tonight. And we're joined by the voice of the Oil Kings, Matt Barrett. Matt, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Doing wonderful, Jason. How are you?
I am good, really good. The Oil Kings, a little bit of a stretch here now. They've played a lot of road games, and they're going to get a little bit more consistent home games, which I think helps them, because they're in quite the battle with Medicine Hat and Prince Albert for the top seeds in their division. And they just had 2 really entertaining games against the Hat. The second game didn't go as well as they would have liked, but you compare Medicine Hat to Prince Albert. Who's a tougher matchup for the Oil Kings?
It's hard to say. I think they're 2 very different teams in the sense of Medicine Hat wants to run and gun. They'll run you up and down the rink. They'll rush 4 guys. 4 guys will be running into the zone on an offensive stretch. Then you look at PA, and they're more of a hard nose. They're going to defend hard. They're going to make life difficult. They play a very playoff style of hockey in the regular season. So it's 2 very different styles. And Edmonton seemed to be able to, rise to the occasion in the Prince Albert games. winning twice in Prince Albert, that is not an easy thing to do. And in Medicine Hat, it's a rivalry. Those two do not like each other one bit. So if I had to put in a long-winded answer, I think the tougher opponent is Medicine Hat, just with the speed they play with. They kind of go up and down the ice. You just have to be aware sometimes, and they can get you into a bit of a track meet at times. So you have to just be aware when you're playing a team like that.
Okay. You look at the Oil Kings and their upcoming schedule. They're at home tonight against the Pats, a team that potentially, probably not in the first round. The Blades are much more of a likely first round opponent. The Pats are a team that they should beat. Then they go on the road again, but then really you get into February and they got a lot of home games. This Regina Pats team that comes in town tonight, a team that on paper Edmonton matches up very well against.
Yeah, it's one of those games that a team below you in the standings, you kind of have to win these games. You should win these games, but Regina's a plucky team. They're kind of feisty. They always seem to have tight games against the Oil Kings. So the first two this year have been 1-goal games. So, I mean, you never know in the WHL any given night, which is what's so great about this league. And you got to get up for these games because if not, then this team coming in is going to, find a way to, jump on you. So you have to make sure you're ready to play.
Looking at the Oil Kings, they had a little bit of injury issues. Can you update us? How's the health right now?
Getting better, slowly getting better. Guys like Jackson Feuder and Aaron Obobaifo have gotten into the lineup now after being traded. So slowly it feels like guys are coming back. Gavin Hodnett returned right after the Christmas break, and he looked like he shot out of a cannon. So the health is getting better and better. Instead of week to weeks, we're seeing more day to days on the injury report, which is always nice to see. So slowly guys are getting back.
How's Sotherand looked since coming over from Portland?
Really good. He's elite offensive ability, elite sort of vision, hands at the blue line, ability to create in the offensive zone. So he's been a really nice add, especially to kind of balance out the power play, maybe take a little bit of pressure off some of the other defensemen in terms of creating offense. Him and Ethan McKenzie are two of the top 10 scorers in WHL defensemen right now. And then you look him and Blake Fidler. So the offense is kind of now a little more spread for the Oil Kings blue liners, which is nice. And he's just a veteran. He's made a WHL final before. He's played a ton of playoff games. So he's a guy that really fits well with this group.
Who's he been paired with?
Lately, he's been paired kind of with Ethan McKenzie most of the time. And then Austin Zemlak and Blake Fidler have kind of been another pairing here as of late. So that top four is, I would say, arguably as good as any in the league.
Well, you look at McKenzie and Sotherland. Of course, McKenzie played for Canada World Juniors. Like, I know in the WL, like those guys are playing 25 minutes plus a night, right? And probably close to 30 some nights.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, right? And when you have guys you can rely on like that can play at both ends of the ice, Ethan can play in every situation for you. Same with Carter and, Blake and Austin Zemlak as well. So anytime you have guys that you can rely on to play that much is great. But I think the Oil Kings staff is pretty happy with their depth, and Noah Tamu and Josh Lee on the blue line as well to play some big minutes if they need, and Reese Peterson when he comes back as well.
Max Curran, I know he played the first game against the Hat, then missed. What's his status?
Still being evaluated right now, so we'll see. Obviously he's a big piece out of the lineup when he's not playing, so still determining what his timeline could be, but we'll see. And they've filled in admirably without him there on Saturday, especially when Tri-City was in town. Do you like, is the prognosis like that's not season ending or anything? It's just a matter of, is it week to week? Is that what it is? It's still TBD. We'll see. I think he's still getting evaluated by the medical staff and just trying to figure out what the best course of action is going to be in terms of what his health is. Okay, well that's not good news if it's that serious that might keep him out for the playoffs. If he misses a month, that sucks. But the Oil Kings are. I think it's clear that the organization feels that they're a contender. The results say they're a contender. And the difference can be health. We've seen that in the NHL and for teams. So definitely that's the last thing you want if you're the Oil Kings, to have one of their top guys out of the lineup, especially for any extended period of time. How about what's your thoughts on the goaltending between Snimko and Snell? It's
pretty close to even. I think it's 24-20 in games played this year between the two of them. Do you think they're going to rotate, or do you think when they get to the playoffs, Matt, that they might just run with one guy?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think, general logic would dictate that probably Ethan Simcoe is your guy, just based on the experience. You rode him in the playoffs for the last 5 games against Prince Albert. But I think their confidence in going to either guy. And if they need to go maybe on the first game 1-2, if they want to split games 1 and 2 and go from there, I think that's maybe a possibility as well. But I think general logic probably dictates Simcoe's the guy, but they keep rotating, and they're both solid netminders. They both give the team a chance to win any given night. So that's all you can ask for. And when you only have 2 goaltenders that have played for you this year, that's a pretty good thing, knock on wood. But not many teams can say they've only had their 2 goaltenders all year long.
Yeah, no, that's true. They've been extremely healthy and pretty even between the two of them. And, you look at their numbers, there's really not much separating them, right? Snell's 13-5-1, Simcoe's 17-3-2. Their save percentage is like a different of 0.07. Their goals against average is 0.07. Like there's very little separating the two of them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I think the one thing is that with Parker Snell, he's, ranked by Central Scouting. NHL teams are obviously watching him, and we remember he's still 17 years old. Yes. And it's pretty amazing to see these 2 goaltenders go at it the way they are. And obviously their relationship is excellent as these 2 netminders. And I think the healthy competition is always good, especially on Snell's side. Having a guy like Ethan push him and him push Ethan is probably good for both of them in the long run.
Awesome stuff, Matt. Quickly, you look around the league, and now that you've seen the trade deadline come and gone, was there one trade that kind of intrigued you the most outside of the Oil Kings?
Yeah, I don't know. It was an odd trade deadline in the sense that there were a few teams out west that kind of shuffled the deck more than anything, in terms of maybe Vancouver and Seattle kind of shuffled things a bit more than most. I mean, Cameron Schmidt goes to Seattle, and Seattle was kind of hovering around that 8 seed. So that was an interesting one to see them kind of go in that direction. So I was interested to see out west how teams like that kind of maybe shuffled the deck. It intrigued me a bunch when I looked at it. I said, what are they doing? Are they assuming he's coming back next year? Are they assuming this guy's going to come back? And with the NCAA rules, you have to be aware of the possibility of, different players that you thought you may have had may not come back, and vice versa. Maybe players that you didn't think you'd have back, you may have coming back. So that made for a really intriguing trade deadline. That's kind of where I saw things a little different, was that Cameron Schmidt deal with Seattle and Vancouver.
Okay. Awesome stuff, Matt. Have a good call tonight, man, and continued success.
Thank you. I should say wrestling night. I hear Carius is apparently making an appearance.
Dude, and Eddie Steele's coming back. Eddie Steele's ready to go off the top rope. So, but yeah,
we'll see. Wonderful.
We'll see what Carius, like. I think Carius is there. Like he probably reminds me more of like a manager role.
Okay.
Stage of his career, like. You might guys need. Do you have paramedics on site? Because you might need him.
Yeah.
If he's going to jump in the ring, right?
Yeah.
That could be the issue. I could see him more so, being, like he'd kind of like to consider himself as Elizabeth of sports.
Oh yeah. So no suplexes from Kev.
No. Well, I'd love to see it, but I'm not sure. He might try though. He might try. We'll see. But I have a paramedic. He might have to shock him back to life if he gets in the ring. So
yeah, I'll make sure. I'll get on it.
We are looking forward to it. That'll be a lot of fun on Saturday night. I can't wait. My hockey team has a game, unfortunately, but I can't wait for the video to see what happens on wrestling night.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome, man. Okay, appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason.
There you go. That's Matt Barrett, the voice of the Oil Kings. And yes, Eddie Steele going back to defend his title. Cons, is the Duke partaking in this as well?
No, I think he's keeping his distance. Okay. He might be curling this Sunday, actually.
Oh, is Duke a serious curler
the
now?
Delbert and Bonspiel. Well, they're 0-2, his family.
Oh, they're in the family spiel.
Yeah. He doesn't hold back either. He's pretty honest. He'll slander the team.
Oh, yeah. Well, dude, it's your family. You can, like anybody knows out there, like you can badmouth your sibling. The minute someone else does, you go, wait a sec. What did you just say?
Yeah.
No, you can't say it.
Well,
I'm the sibling. I can say it.
It's his dad, too. He's going after.
Really?
Yeah.
No, maybe we should call his dad and get his version of Duke's curling abilities, because we're only hearing one side of it.
Or they should meet at Oil Rumble and settle their differences. Loser retires match from curling. Duke versus Dad.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious. Closest to who can draw closest to the button, right? Who can do a pick and roll, right? Oh, that'd be or a bump and roll. I should say not pick and roll. I'm not playing basketball here, so nice. But I thought the Duke might want to get in the ring, but guess not. I know Laddie Schmid thought about it, but then backed down when Eddie challenged him. So not a shock there. Not a shock. Hey guys, the Duke has no ACLs. Is that true?
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, they're damaged, but he has them.
What do you mean they're damaged?
Well, I mean,
like he stretched one?
He's told the stories. I think he had surgery once. The second time, he just kind of figured he could get by without the procedure. So, yeah, they're not 100%, but he has.
So
them.
he had ACL surgery?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, he definitely has. Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
You fall off the combine or what? I have to find out that one.
Well, he'll tell you the story playing touch football at a stag. 2-hand touch, I believe. Someone took him out at the knees. Friend of Fantasy Frenzy named Bryce.
Bryce took him out at the
took
knees.
him out at the knees, yeah.
Right? Probably completely sober in a
Yeah.
two-hand touch game at a stag. Like that. Like, you want to talk about ideas that sound very good that you know are going to be a train wreck. Every guy listening's like, what? And first of all, two-hand touch, you know that's only going to last about a minute.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you're at a stag. It's like a minute might even be probably too long to think. Hey, what do you guys want to do? Oh, let's just play a friendly game of touch football. Like anybody who's even played touch football in junior high knows that rarely lasts. There's always someone, pushes a little bit too hard. Then the next time they push harder and then it's full on, right? Happens all the time.
Someone decides to truck the defender, and then someone always flips it off.
Oh, somebody for sure. Right? You only got me with one hand. Right? That's another classic. So that's why like the flag football now, it actually makes a lot of sense because there's no debate, right? You get the flag, you don't get the flag. Ends the discussion. Well, I got him with two hands. Did you get the flag? Yes or no? There's no debate. Makes sense. So, but I am that's such a guy story to tear your ACL in two-hand touch football at a stag. Oh, he's probably wearing his Wranglers too. That's the other great part about that story that he probably left out.
The jeans were so tight they probably actually held the ACL together.
Yeah, well, I was going to say
temporarily.
There's too much strain. You know how some guy you work out and you're just so tight that it leads to more injuries because you got no mobility. Well, that's what happens in the jeans. There's no mobility. There's no room. There's no give. So that's what happens. Coming up after 3:00, your Remchuck will join us. Also, Ty Emberson. Very quietly. Ty Emberson having himself a good season. What's he changed? Find out next. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Oil changes, tire repair, service your vehicle. They do it all. One-stop shop. FountainTire.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
6 games on the ice tonight in the NHL, starting off with the Leafs and the Red Wings, followed by the Ducks and Avalanche, the Flyers and Utah, Flames up against the Penguins, Kraken and Islanders, and the Capitals in Vancouver. In the association tonight, the Raptors in Sacramento take on the Kings at 8. You also have the Bucks and the Thunder, Pelicans host the Pistons, Nets in New York to take on the Knicks, Celtics, Pacers, and the Cavs and Hornets. In the WHL, the Edmonton Oil Kings back in action tonight, taking on the Regina Pats. Puck drop 7 o'clock down at Rogers Place. AJHL showcase earlier today, Drayton Valley falling to Grand Prairie 5-4. And we've got a game coming up at 3, Camrose and Whitecourt. PWHL has Montreal in Minnesota at 5 o'clock. And the New York Yankees and outfielder Cody Bellinger in agreement on a 5-year, $162.5 million contract extension. Per multiple reports, the deal includes opt-outs after the second and third season, a $20 million signing bonus, and a full no-trade clause. Bellinger batted .272 with 29 home runs in 152 games last season. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, here's some Oilers audio, ask 5 questions, and be joined by Tyler Uremchuk from Oilers Nation. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, There's always
Wednesday
something new
afternoon.
to discover
Having,
at
a little
Sherbrooke
bit of
Liquor,
hearing
a
problem
unique,
here.
family-owned, independent
what
liquor
is,
store.
being
The
said.
selection,
Have to see
incredible.
what is
The
going on,
non-alcohol
Connor
section
House.
is
So
also
hopefully we're on
very
the air. Are we on
impressive.
the air?
Sherbrooke Liquor.
All right. Welcome to the
Expert,
Gregor Show.
knowledgeable staff with a passion for
Welcome to
unique
the Gregor
finds.
Show, presented
More
by
than just a liquor store, we're
Alberta
a community. Alberta's best. The one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirit,
Yeah,
and
YouTube, Facebook,
oodles of
X,
beer.
and
Visit
Instagram. It's the Gregor Show.
SherbrookeLiquor.com.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick.
Sports 1440.
Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business, and for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
The Hockey Super League is proud to launch its 9th season, delivering independent, borderless hockey. This year, over 125 teams will compete across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and for the first time ever, Colorado, USA, with showcase-style action, cross-province rivalries, and a strong commitment to player development. The HSL is the premier destination for families seeking balance and athletes chasing the next level. The Hockey Super League. Hockey without limits. For athletes born in 2013 to 2018, visit hockeysuperleague.com to learn more.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Do you sit around at work listening to sports radio all day? That's right, my friend. There's no shame in it. It's the good life. And we're not here to snitch. Say, if your company advertised on Sports 1440, you could be the one listening for your company's ad every day. Now you've got an excuse to listen to Sports 1440 all day. It's part of the job. Sounds like someone's getting a promotion. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca and let's get to work for you.
Looking for auto parts without the dealership price tag? You'll save big here at Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlaw. From engines and alternators to doors and glass, we carry quality tested used parts at unbeatable prices. Why spend thousands when you can spend hundreds? Keep your car and your budget running strong with Ed's Auto Salvage. I'm Lisa, inviting you to stop in soon or visit us online. We offer province-wide shipping and daily delivery to Edmonton. EdsAutosalvage.com.
Across rural Alberta, volunteers and community groups work hard to make life better for their neighbors, creating new playgrounds, better rinks, and gathering places that bring us together. Vision Credit Union is proud to lend these local heroes a helping hand. Apply today for a Helping Hand grant up to $10,000 to support your community's next big idea. Let's make great things happen together. Applications are open until January 31st, 2026. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Lovely Wednesday afternoon. How are you? It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game at Play Alberta. Casino, live dealer, lottery, instance, you name it, they got it. And if you're there, be sure to use your game sense, GameSenseAB.ca to stay within your limits at PlayAlberta.ca. Edmonton Oilers, practice day today, 11-7, probably one more game at 11-7. Then I expect Leon Draisaitl to be ready to go on Saturday. There's a slight chance he might play tomorrow, but I'm thinking probably more likely for Saturday for him. So there you go. As for who's starting in goal, Chris Knobloch didn't want to tip his hand on that, but Stuart Skinner will not start tomorrow night. He's going to start tonight in Calgary. So the Penguins doing what the Devils did. They put their starter in Calgary, which actually makes sense. You're playing back-to-back as you want to ensure you try to win one. So you give yourself maybe your best odds player starter in the first game, especially if it's against a weaker team. I've always argued that. And then maybe you do what New Jersey did and your backup kind of steals you a game in the second one. And that's kind of what happened. So in a back-to-back, you want to get a split for sure. So I'd always say, hey, let's go with my starter in the game one. And then, you know what? Second game, sometimes players feel a bit better. And maybe, with their backup in, they get a little bit more motivated to want to help them out. Who knows? But right now, I'm not sure the Oilers have a clear starter and a backup. I think it's probably Jari, but Ingram has played really well. So if it is a starter, it's not like a 70-30 starter by any stretch of the imagination. It might be like a, 55-45. It'll be interesting to see kind of what they do. The way Ingram's played, though, I don't see any reason why you'd sit him out too long. And because the Oilers are playing now every second day, and then next week, Monday, Tuesday, they have Tuesday, Wednesday off. I could see why you might just rotate, right? Go Ingram tomorrow. I even asked Tristan Jarry about that. He goes, because he's done both. He's been the starter. He's also early in his career, he was in a rotation. He goes, when you're in the rotation, you know what? As long as the rotation isn't about wins and losses, it's better. Then okay, I'm playing this game, he's playing that game. I'm playing the next game, and away you go. It makes sense. Some other NHL news just coming down. Luke Hughes has been placed on LTIR for the Devils. Colin White has been recalled from Utica. So that was kind of expected. Luke Hughes, a shoulder injury. He's out significant period of time. Unfortunately for the Devils. Probably, hopefully, maybe. Could be back by the playoffs, but he is out now for the foreseeable future for the New Jersey Devils. At least he's going to be out, at least 9 more games. He's already missed 1. So he's going to be out at least 9 more, maybe more, depending. So I would think probably more long-term than short-term, unfortunately, for him. Now let's get to the oil report brought to you by Go Auto, where if you're looking for a vehicle, no place can offer you more options. 15,000 vehicles. They got over 76 locations for you to choose from. All the brands. 31 different brands for you to test drive. See what they got. GoAuto.ca. And Ty Emberson having himself a pretty solid season this year for the Edmonton Oilers in year 2. And year 2 in Edmonton, that is, year 3 in the National Hockey League, and sat down with Ty to talk a little bit about it. And I said, is it too simple to just say experience is what's led to the better play for you in your second year with the Oilers?
I mean, I think it's too easy to say experience. I think it's too hard to to say all of the things it is. I think it's a lot of just, like you said, it's experience of understanding your game, understanding the systems, understanding who you are as a player. But I think it's also just some grinding, some work in the summer, just figuring out who I want to be in this league. And I think last year coming into it, I had that foot injury in San Jose. So I think last year I got off a little bit behind the 8 ball just with my off-season training. I was rehabbing more than actually training. But I think this year, just developing, making sure my puck touches are good. I think that's been the biggest thing for me. Working with Stewie, working with Connor Allen, working with guys like that to make sure that I'm ready every night.
Yeah, the NHL Edge says you're a little bit quicker, so that's probably attributed just to you can train more, you can be faster, and because you're quicker, you're getting to pucks quicker, you're not getting hit as much. Do you feel that you're not taking as many hits this year?
I mean, it was kind of a running joke last year in the locker room that I took the most hits in the league, but I mean, I don't feel like I'm doing anything different, but maybe maybe statistically, obviously it says I am, so that's good. You don't want to take as many hits, but I mean, I don't think it's ever in the back of my mind. Like, I think there's times that you have to take a hit, and that's going to be the right play to do nothing. But yeah, I think this summer was really good for me of just making sure that I had the full off season to train and come into camp ready.
So when you say that what type of player I wanted to be, what was your mindset? What were you looking to improve and the areas you wanted to become better in this year?
I think a lot of last year, I was just still finding my game. It was still felt kind of like a rookie year. Like that first year was good for me, but then I had that foot injury to kind of end the year prematurely. But I think you're just kind of finding your game of understanding what it takes to stick in this league. And I think this year has kind of proven that if I'm going to be kind of a stingy little defender who can contribute on the PK and just close gaps, like a good first pass, and just be someone that's reliable.
We've seen some bigger hits from you this year. Is that a timing thing, or is that more of I want to be more physical?
I think it's definitely something that I've thought about this year. I think that's something that our team can have more of. I think Podsy, Freddie, Doc, all these guys do a really good job, and that's something that I can contribute. Obviously, I'm not the biggest guy, but I think it's also a timing thing. If you don't want, because people are too good in this league. If you run out of your way to chase hits, then you're going to look like an idiot out there. So I think it's definitely making sure my gaps are on time, making sure my stick's good, and putting people in areas where I can finish hits and contribute that way.
I've also noticed, and I know it's a little bit of the system, but you're more engaged offensively. You see it down low. The other game, you're give and go with McDavid behind the goal line. We're seeing you rush up as the bumper guy in the neutral zone. Has that made it more fun? Do you like that part? Like, you're not going to be Bouchard, obviously not, but
yeah,
just you want to contribute in different ways. And does that actually help your game being a little bit more offensive?
I think it does, and I think that part goes to the other side that I was talking about of just improving my puck touches. I think I've always been a solid defender, and that's something that I can do, but working on my puck touches and being able to contribute in ways like that. Like you said, I'm not going to be a boosh toe dragging someone on the blue line, and I don't ever expect that out of me, but little plays like that where I think last year my puck touches weren't as good. I wasn't as confident on the blue line to be able to make those plays, to get it to Leo, to Connor, and contribute and kind of keep the offensive going.
So when you talk about improving your puck touches, is it just a matter of being more efficient and accurate with your passes, getting it away quicker? What's the combination when, for any young defenseman out there to improve your puck touches, how do you go about it?
Just lots of reps. I think as defensemen in this league, you play a lot of games, and as you guys know, there's not a whole lot of practice time. And during games, I don't touch the puck a crazy amount. I'm not skating with the puck. I'm not handling the puck all that much. So a lot of my touches are just on and off. So I think this year I've been good about going on early with Connor Allen, with Stewie, and staying out a little bit later. Just those small area touches. A lot of them are going to come quick, and they got to go quick and just put in a small little spot, whether it's the center or the wing. But for me, it's just been a lot of reps this year, just making sure that my confidence is there, because you don't have a whole lot of opportunities in the game, so you want to make those count when you do.
Fair to say you're one of the guys who's a big fan of Connor Allen and having a skills coach and just more opportunity to work on your skills throughout the year.
Yeah, I think it's been great, especially for some of the younger guys, of just making sure that, like I said, the NHL is not a development league. It's a results driven league. So if you're not taking it into your own account to develop, you're going to fall behind. And I think Connor has been really good with making sure that guys have the access to whatever they need to be able to do, whether it's video, whether it's puck touches, whether it's just him being on the ice with someone to talk to, or like run ideas off of.
Do you ever practice a toe drag just in maybe case of a blowout, just so you can pull it out to impress the fella?
I don't know if you saw it before. We were working on a little backhand toe drag. We were working on it, but I don't think it's going to come out anytime soon.
God, would that be unreal if Ty Emerson pulled out a backhand toe drag? Because, I was joking with him afterwards. I said, like, what if you're up like 6-1? There's 5 minutes to go in the third. That's when you try it. Because if it works, the bench goes crazy. And if it doesn't work, people kind of chuckle because it's a 6-1 game. Right? You're not going to do it in a 1-1 game. There's no question about it. But you know what? You just have fun practicing in drills. And it's a great reminder for a player like Ty Emberson how, the injury in San Jose, didn't get the training that he wanted in the summer. That's a fact that impacts players, especially like if you're an elite player and you drop a few percentage points, no one really notices it because you're still above the rest of the league. But if you're a third line player and you drop a few percent, sometimes you're out of the league, right? You're into the American League, or you're struggling. Hey, you're in and out of the lineup. Ty Emberson this year, man, he has played rock solid for the Edmonton Oilers. I can't think of a real dip in his play all year. He's been very consistent, for the role he plays and what your expectations of him are. I would say he's actually probably exceeded the expectations a little bit. Because most people thought he would only play third pair minutes, and that's all he would be. And there's nothing wrong with third pair minutes. I'm not one of those people that think, oh, you're third pair defenseman. Like, third pair defensemen still play way more than your third line players. And in some cases, they play more than your second line wingers, right? If we're looking at actual ice time, right, when you're on the games, or you're on the ice. So I think Ty Emberson has been one of the more pleasant surprises on the Edmonton Oilers this year. Just, he's been steady. He's playing 16 minutes a night this season, right? That's outstanding. Last year, what did he play? So he's up like a full minute a game more, right? From 15 to 16. So that's improvement. And, you look, he's never going to bring a ton of offense to your team, right? Like last year, I think he had 12 points, give or take, right? I think he was a minus player, but a plus minus. I'd have to look at it, what he was 5-on-5 last year or not. But this year, I know he's, I think his point, I know he's ahead of his point pace because he's already got 9 points this year. And I think he had 12 last year, maybe 13, but I think it was 12. And he's already got 9. He is the one thing that he's actually, I think, has fewer shots on goal, though, this year than he's had last year. But I think he's making more plays with the puck. And you know what? He's been on the ice for fewer goals against, which is like a significant margin at 5-on-5, fewer goals against. So that's how your team gets better a lot of times, is when the guys at the bottom elevate their game. And Emberson, I don't know, Cons, have we had one text into the show complaining about Ty Emberson this year?
No, I was going to say there's 2 players I don't think anyone's complained about, Emberson and Hyman. But Emberson, you said it's 13 points last year. So you're right in the ballpark.
Okay.
12 this year. He was a minus player last year at -5, but +7 this year. But yeah, I don't think I've had one text in this show or Fantasy Frenzy where Ty Emberson's been blamed for anything.
Yeah, he is. He's and really, I can't think of a real glaring mistake he's made. He's not a flashy player. Lots of times you're just like, oh, Ty Emberson played 50 minutes tonight. Didn't really notice him. And actually, I do notice him more in the other day. I saw him doing give and goes with McDavid, and Emberson was behind the goal line in the offensive zone. Lately, you see at times their breakout, when the Oilers have a controlled breakout and the other team isn't pressing, one of their defensemen will have the puck in the zone. The other defenseman will now rush up to center ice, and he works as a bumper guy. Sometimes the pass goes to him. He just redirects it into the zone, and that allows them to have 3 forwards going rather than just 2, because it used to be the forward who would do that deflection in. So little subtle differences that you see, but Emberson, even in the offensive zone, he's cycling around. He's not just stationary on the blue line anymore. They really get their defensemen moving around in the zone, and it's something to watch. I think it's good to see, and it requires more communication, right? That's all it does. It requires a little bit more communication from your players, and I think it's good. But I've liked Ty Emberson. I think he has been a real pleasant surprise and improved player this year for the Edmonton Oilers. Tyler Remchuk will join us next. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 1-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
This Sunday, it's high-impact family fun that's second to none.
See Oil Rumble 3, an afternoon of wrestling in Ice District. Catch all the slap shots and suplexes as your Edmonton Oil Kings battle the Saskatoon Blades.
It's Family Fun Sunday with face painting, bouncy castles, plus pregame and intermission Love Pro Wrestling matches.
And Calamont Kids food combos are $10 or less. Value that hits harder than a steel folding chair.
Edmonton, Saskatoon, Family Fun Sunday, and Oil Rumble at Rogers Place.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters, the full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
Wondering
what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit, no credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
The new double cheesy melt at McDonald's. We're talking 2 juicy, mouth-watering 100% Canadian beef patties, 2 slices of cheesy goodness, with even more melty, cheesy sauce on top. Topped with pickles, then crispy and grilled onions. The way it all comes together, you don't just eat it, you melt into it. The double cheesy melt, only at McDonald's. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
At On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, Bingo Tune.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Jazz Grab and 118th.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat,
call Legacy, call Legacy.
If you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
call Legacy, call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Gregor special. Enjoy 20% off any regular priced order when you use promo code Gregor at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
That's a great tune, man. Woo! Love that genre of music. Fantastic Wednesday. How are you? Welcome back to the Gregor Show. As always, brought to you by our title sponsor, playalberta.ca. Your one-stop shop, casino, live dealer, lottery, instance, and more, including the Jason Gregor Show daily specials. Check those out. We got a little Capitals and Red Wings, Maple Leaf action. Check it out, playalberta.ca. The Edmonton Oilers, of course, their coaches will probably be watching the Pittsburgh-Calgary game. The players might watch a little bit of it. Some guys you talk to, they do watch TV when the opposing team's playing the night before. Others, not so much. Just depends on who it is. And we'll see. The Oilers trying to get back on track as they, for the 9th time, with a chance to win 3 in a row. They don't. And the Oilers, in those 9 attempts where they had a chance to win 3 in a row, they allowed the first goal in 8 of 9. And that has been, it's like the Oilers have one of the biggest splits in the NHL when it comes to scoring first or trailing first. When they score first, they've won 21 of 26 games. When they allow the first goal, which has happened 25 times, they've only won 4 times. 21 out of 26, 4 out of 25. Seems pretty obvious what you'd like to do, if possible, if you're the Edmonton Oilers. And obviously, no one scores first every game. I understand it. But when you're at that much of a swing, it makes a difference. You look at their winning percentage. Only Colorado and Buffalo, funny enough, have better winning percentages when scoring first. Right? The problem for the Edmonton Oilers is they're right near the bottom when it comes to giving up the first goal and their winning percentage, a paltry 0.16. Only the Jets, Blackhawks, and the Blues are worse. So it's feast or famine. Score the first goal for the Oilers. You might want to go to playalberta.ca and do the little in-game. But they're going to win because historically they have this year. Now, let's go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, one of the most versatile electrical contractors in the province. Service, technology, obviously solar, one of the most fastest growing parts of their business. Installed over 300 home solar systems the last few years, and it's really paying off. So if you ever thought about it, get more details, actionelectrical.net. As Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff joins us. Ty, how you doing?
I am doing good, Gregor. Getting ready to go to Jasper tomorrow for a little pond hockey tournament, so I'm fired up for my weekend.
Ooh, all right. Well, you guys have played there before when it's been gross cold, so the weather's supposed to be pretty decent this time.
Yeah, I think like highs of kind of -5, -6. Last year, we actually had the issue of it got too warm and the ice was kind of turning to sludge. So this year, like -7, I think we talked about outdoor rinks last week when I was on, but like -7, I think is like the perfect temperature for being out on the rink.
Yeah, no, it's ideal. It's not too hot, but it's cold enough so it freezes. Because last thing you guys need is if you can't glide, right? Because then you're done.
Yeah, you're cooked.
Kind of like the Edmonton Oilers. Man, that first period was pretty ugly last night. I know there was only it was announced like the shots I think were 4-4 after the first period, but like Edmonton in the first two periods, they didn't give up many shots, but man, when they did, it was a 5-star. Like Tristan Jarry, that's one of the best 2 goals allowed games and only 17 shots faced that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and I saw that. I mean, there were some people getting on him for that first goal. He's got to have that, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, come on, man. He made that crazy windmill save. He made the pad save on the penalty kill in the first period. Like, he is a big reason why the Oilers were able to make that game a little interesting in the final 10 minutes of the third and put together that crazy push they did. Because if Jarry didn't make those 10 bell saves, they would have been down 3 or 4-1. And honestly, they deserve to be down 3 or 4-1 to come out again with an opportunity to win your third in a row and to be as flat as they were early in that game. Like New Jersey wasn't good either. They didn't take advantage of things, but like they're on the second end of a back-to-back. It's expected that they're going to be a little sluggish. I was really disappointed that the Oilers didn't have a little bit more jump in their step out of the gate last night.
Yeah, like it was their third and 4 games too. So I don't know, maybe, but still, you're at home ice. You haven't traveled in 3 days. Like you got home late Saturday night, so you're home Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday. To me, the Oilers, that was a game last night. Now, hey, they had a great third period. No one's like, oh yeah, they got goalied for 20 minutes, and you know what? They missed some really good chances where the goalie didn't make the save. They just didn't score, and you know. Like, what did you make of like Pod Coles and no hesitation going after actually, Kovacevic's like, all right, let's go. I didn't think the hit was dirty. Do you?
No, I didn't. Like in real time, because McDavid, he comes in so fast, and then when you do clip him, it kind of looks more violent than it usually is when McDavid goes down, just as a product of him ripping in with so much speed. So initially, I was kind of like, oh my God, how did they not call anything on that? And then you kind of go watch the replay, and it's like, all right, the hands were kind of more to the chest-ish area, high chest area than anything. So I didn't have a problem with the hit, but again, in real time, that's good on Vasily Podkolzin. It sucks they had to go down to 10 forwards for 17 minutes. That was obviously unfortunate because you're already a little bit shorthanded in your forward group, but I would much rather deal with that problem than deal with the problem of, or the conversation of, why didn't anyone go stand up for Connor McDavid? I mean, I was talking with Jeff Merrick today about that game last year in Buffalo when Tage Thompson got ran and no one came to his defense. And like, that bothered Tage Thompson for a long time. That brought up a lot of questions about the culture in Buffalo. And listen, Edmonton isn't Buffalo. That's not what I'm trying to say. But the last thing you want is to have those questions pop up. The last thing you want is Connor McDavid to sit there and feel like, hey, why is no one sticking up for me? So I love that Podkolzin does it. And it's part of the reason why he's becoming a fan favorite. Like last year, the offense maybe wasn't there, but everybody saw those intangibles. This year, it's all coming together. And even though he's playing top 6 minutes more and scoring goals, he hasn't lost that edge still, which is great to see.
I just had a conversation with Ty Emberson earlier. And, Ty Emberson is on a season where, there's been some inconsistencies and such. And even when the Oilers were struggling defensively, it wasn't really Ty Emberson. His goals against have been down significantly from last year. He's playing actually 1 more minute a night. He's playing a little bit higher of competition now at times because he plays in the second pair and his minutes are up, and really haven't seen hardly any errors from Ty Emerson this year.
Yeah, and I like what Connor was saying during that segment too, that like text line, YouTube chats, on Twitter, online, nobody has had any reason to complain about Ty Emberson, which is, again, the biggest compliment for a defenseman like that is just go out there, make the simple plays, don't get caught in your own end and things like that. And I liked your interview with him joking about the backhand toe drag, but I do remember he scored that goal. I think it was against Utah this year, where it was kind of like an awkward rebound or off the end boards play that came out, and he like back foot wrist shot from the bottom of the circle, scored. And that was always that sticks out to me because it was one of those moments where I'm like, oh yeah, even the, third pairing defenseman in the NHL who gets 10 to 15 points a year, they are still in the top 0.001% of all hockey players in the world, because Emberson could still do that play with the snap of his fingers, but obviously not what the Oilers pay him to do. He's been great on the PK. He's been extremely reliable at 5-on-5. Again, that trade that Stan Bowman made, those 2 trades, getting Podkolzin and Emberson in light of the offer sheets, that was great work by Bowman because he got 2 guys who have really grown into their roles with this team.
Tyler Remchuk joins us. Leon Draisaitl, likely 1 more game. I think he will miss. I think there's a slight chance he plays tomorrow, but it's probably not until on Saturday. They go 11-7. Obviously, Podkolzin's out for 17 minutes. So, they had to go with 10. But I looked at the minutes of the players. Like, you know what? It's like Matt Savoy played 16 minutes. It's not a bad thing to go 11-7 a few games.
No, and I kind of like the way they were mixing it up early in that game. I thought Savoy and Howard both had really solid games. The other thing that actually ended up hurting him, granted, McDavid still played the most minutes of any forward, but McDavid's coincidental minor with Connor Brown, he ended up being in the box for 4 minutes and 31 seconds. So that took them out another guy. Like, even when Podkolzin came back, they were shorthanded again, still stuck on 10 forward. So it's not ideal. I still think, again, Regula played 2 minutes and 40 seconds, didn't take a shift, and I think the back half of that game, definitely not in the third period. It sucks playing shorthanded. You'd rather have 12 than 11, but I did think, Knobloch kind of, we'll say, made the most of it. And listen, for the people who sit there and complain that, the bottom 6 never gets opportunities and all of this stuff, they just overplay McDavid and Draisaitl. No excuses now for some of these guys. I will say I've liked Mangiapane's game the last couple of nights. I think he's maybe taken a step in the right direction, but this is the chance for those guys. If they ever, and I don't know if this is true, but if you ever felt like you're in the bottom of this Oilers lineup and complain about, I don't get the shifts, I don't get the opportunities, 11 forwards, you're getting shifts with 97. Like, this is your chance to make an impression on the coaching staff.
Oh, for sure. And, some guys have. And I thought Matt Savoy, hey, it's not the prettiest goal, but hey, hits you and goes in, and, maybe that can get him going a little bit. He's had some good chances, just misfiring, just missing the net, which sometimes tells me a guy's trying to aim too perfectly rather than just shoot it on net, because that's usually, you just bury it, rip it kind of to an area, and sometimes you get lucky. But what do you make of, the Oilers in Vegas, like the rest of the Pacific, meh. Like Seattle, San Jose, Anaheim, even the LA Kings. I know they got a victory last night, but they can't score to save their life. This has really come down to a 2-horse race. And like, the Oilers got to take advantage of these next home games here. You can't be winning 3 out of 6 or, 2 out of 6, what they've done in their first. They got to get going here at home. This has been a disappointing January thus far on home ice.
Yep, I agree with you. They took care of business on the weekend, which is great. I know the only home game came against St. Louis, and that is what's even, again, a little bit more frustrating from an Oilers perspective, that you didn't beat New Jersey yesterday, because that is a beatable opponent. And listen, if the Oilers bring their A game or even their B+ game, heck, with the goaltending they're getting, their B- game most nights should probably be good enough for them to beat anybody. But you do look now like Pittsburgh having a good season. Washington, I know it's a down year, but that's still a team that, puts a little bit of fear into you. Anaheim starting to figure things out after they kind of had a rough month or 5-week stretch. San Jose still kicking around. Minnesota the next Saturday, we know they're a good team. Like, these are some tough teams, but no excuses for the Oilers. You're a top 5 home team in the NHL over the last 3 years, and you had the sluggish start that you did. And while that was happening, there were a lot of people who said, a lot of travel, it's a tough schedule, just wait till they start getting their home games. Well, now's the time for this team to go out there and show that they can be a dominant cup contending kind of team who takes on a run of 5 good opponents and goes 4-1. Like, I don't think that's an unfair expectation to put on this group, especially if they get Leon Draisaitl back sooner rather than later.
I'm always interested when I learn things that I was unaware of. And I learned today that Keon Coleman is essentially the Tobias Reeder of the Buffalo Bills. He's the reason they lost, according to the owner. Like, that was a wild press conference, buddy, for your team.
Yeah, Terry Pagula hasn't done a lot of front-facing media over the last 5 years, so this was, a cannonball into the kiddie pool kind of thing here, just making waves, but it was unnecessary. I watched the press conference. The question was asked to Brandon Beane. Brandon Beane is giving a perfectly normal response about we want to work with him. His issues are off the field, and Pagula cuts him off and is basically like, I don't know why Brandon Beane's covering up for those coaches who wanted to draft him. There's proof. You can go back and watch the Bills documentaries that they release of Brandon Beane being in love with Keon Coleman. It's so blatantly false. They're kind of making a mess of this whole thing. I didn't disagree with the decision to fire Sean McDermott. I like him. I'm never a fire the coach guy, so I was surprised when it happened. But again, 7 years of being kind of stuck in this rut of not getting over the hump, that's a normal thing to say, you know what, we need to fire our coach and shake things up. Everything that's happened now in the 24 hours after has been just an absolute disaster. Spelling mistake in the press release saying you fired Sean McDermott. How can you do that? I know that's a small thing, but again, it just adds to the fire here. So yeah, fan base is fired up. They should be. It's a mess right now. I hope they get this coaching hire right.
Who do you think they're going to hire? Who would you want them to hire?
I don't hate the idea of bringing back Brian Daboll just because he has a good relationship with Josh Allen. The offense really worked when he was here. It was, a record-setting offense when Daboll was there. But I think they need to lean defensive-minded. That was McDermott's thing, and he ultimately failed at it, which is why I'm okay that he lost his job, because if they could have held an opponent under 30 points in a playoff game, and 30 points it's not a high bar to set. Like, a good defense should be able to hold an opposing team under 30 points. If they could have held opponents under 30 points, they would have won every single one of these big playoff games that they've lost. So I want to see him go defensive-minded. I don't have a great name off the top of my head, but it feels like Daboll might be the guy.
Daboll, wow. That's Cons, what do you think? Who do you like?
Oh, Deck and I were just talking about that actually for the Bills. We mentioned Joe Brady. I don't know if that changes much because you have a guy who is just your OC. Jesse Minter looked like he's going to go to the Baltimore Ravens. So if you wanted a defensive guy, looks like that could be out of the question. I kind of like Daboll as well, though. I mean, like Tyler said, they've got history together. They built that chemistry up. He had some really good seasons with him as his OC. And Daboll, I would like to think, has learned a few things from coming over from the Giants. So I don't hate that name.
And boys, you know what, though? Eric Bieniemy is going back to the Chiefs. So might not matter who the Bills hire.
And the Chiefs are picking in the top whatever of the draft, and you just know they're going to get some just stud game changer there. Like, they don't miss on picks like that.
Yeah, you're probably right. So, although Kelsey said, another thing, is Kelsey coming back? Because his comment today about, man, I'll be really happy to see him back in the room, kind of leads you to believe that maybe he'll be coming back for one more hurrah for the Chiefs.
Yeah, he didn't have he's still a good player, but he's definitely not the Travis
Kelce.
Not the
dominant guy,
like if he left, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, the Chiefs are screwed, right?
No, God, no. But most people thought he was done, but doesn't look like he will be. We'll see. Ty, have a great day, buddy. We'll chat with you next week.
Sounds good. See you, boys.
It's Tyler Remchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Face Off. We'll return. We got 5 questions to get to. We got Rich Winter coming up in the business of sports and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I skipped breakfast this morning. Stay out of my way.
Don't threaten me with your bad choices.
No worries. A booster bar from Booster Juice will fix me.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, because they're new. Snack-sized bars packed with seeds, pecans, gluten-free oats, all sorts of good stuff.
That sounds lovely, actually.
2 different flavors to try, too. Coconut pecan booster bars and harvest booster bars. Want to skip breakfast with me?
I take it back. You make good choices.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
When the ground freezes, you wonder how anything can get done. And instead of staying outside in temperatures that would make a polar bear cry, you head inside where it's toasty and warm. But that's not what GS Construction does. Because while the ground freezes above, we plan below, rebuilding and revitalizing the systems that keep our communities working year after year. Now, don't worry. GS Construction promises to do everything safely and efficiently, and we'll wear our extra warm clothing outside. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen, as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hey Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. Made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through Wednesday afternoon, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Hope you're having a lovely Wednesday. It is time for 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. And the store-wide inventory clearance is on right now. Unreal savings, up to 70% off store clearance items. So stop in right now at The Brick and you can save more.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. Was there one single aspect of the Oilers game last night that you found to be the most disappointing?
Yeah, just how they started the game. They weren't ready to play, and their head coach didn't mince his words. And that, to me, is disappointing, especially as you're trying to get out of that win 2, lose 2, win 2, lose 1. Like, the Oilers have won half of their games this year. They're 5-6. Don't tell me that they're winning 2 out of 3. They're not. They're 5 and they've won 5 of their last 11 games. They got to be better. And their start was just not close to good enough.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that. I guess, in a game where you only score the 1 goal, generating offense, Devils deserve credit. Jake Allen made some big saves, but not finding a way to score another goal in that one when, you're down by 1 goal, you're a shot away. I guess that would be disappointing for me as well. Now, question number 2 for you. Which NHL fan base right now do you think has it the worst?
Oh, jeez. So just right now?
Just right now, yeah.
Probably the Jets. Like, no one saw this coming. Like, no one saw them going from first to almost worst. Right? Like, they had 116 points last year. They're on pace for like 75. So, yeah, I got to go with the Jets. I can't think of a team that's been more disappointing from where they were last year. I'm not saying the Jets fans thought they were winning the cup. I don't think anybody thought the Jets were going to be not even close to a playoff spot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, worst to first is crazy. I guess, I'll go with the New York Rangers. I think probably higher expectations that they might do a little bit more. They got a lot of contracts with the no movement, and a second statement from your GM on social media. Like I feel like the New York Rangers fans probably had a higher expectation as well, and right now sitting in last spot for the division. So I'll go with the New York Rangers. Question number 3 for you: outside of Team Canada, which Olympic team are you most intrigued by for the games in Italy?
Well, Sweden's team is going to be decimated by injuries here, so that's not looking good for them. I guess it's USA because USA has the most favorable draw, no question. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to go 3-0, and they're probably going to win a few games big, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, look at the US. They're a juggernaut. And they're totally going to discount who they're playing. And then they'll probably get the easiest matchup in the quarterfinal because of it, because they'll probably be the number 1 seed overall. Even if Canada goes 3-0 in their pool, US probably going to have a better goal for against differential. I'm just going to guess. And so, yeah, I'm going to go Team USA just because, like right now, the USA is annoying me as a country. So I hope Canada kicks their ass. That would be awesome.
I can't disagree with that last statement. I'm going to say Germany. There's the obviously Leon Draisaitl part that makes it interesting. Szymanski, after having him on the show yesterday, very intrigued to see what he can do. But, Stützle, there's Reichel, Dominic Cahoon, who we're familiar with, JJ Paterka, Sider. There's some guys I'm intrigued to see what they do, because originally I thought, oh, man, they've got no chance. And you look at the team, and granted, there's not as many as some of the other countries, but a few NHLers there. So I think the Germans will be a team that I'll be watching for. Question number 4 for you, or just about the midpoint of the NBA season. If SGA wasn't an option, who would go down as your MVP?
Go ahead.
I think I got to go with Luka. Right now, leading the league in points per game, 3rd in assists. The LA Lakers, not in contention for top spot, but comfortably in a playoff position. I think I lean Luka.
Okay, hard to go against that. The Joker's kind of out of it, right? Just because of injuries, right? I think he's not going to be able to play enough games to really, I think, be a factor. So I'll go different, but I don't think it's much different. But I'm going to go Cade Cunningham in Detroit. He's having himself a spectacular season, and I'm sure people like to debate and everything, but at the end of the day, right now, it's I'm going to guess it's going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, just because Jokic has missed. He missed like 12 games now? I think, right? So at some point that becomes too much to win the MVP if you miss too many games, at least for me anyway.
Yeah, and then at some point in the NBA, you were actually ineligible, right? So
yeah, he's missed 12 games because he's played 32 out of 44.
So yeah, I mean, if we just included SGA, I don't think it'd be too easy. Final question for you today. Today is International Sweatpants Day. So for you, because I know in the past we've heard Strutty's opinion, the Duke on Fantasy Frenzy, they anti-sweatpant. Is there a time and place for sweatpants, or are you good for them to be worn, out and about whenever you want?
I'm not going to judge anyone, well, externally, but I do, I don't know. I guess it depends on, are they sweatpants? But then there's dirty sweatpants, right? Because you have a tendency maybe to rub your hands on your sweats more than you would, and they Grace, you know what, Cons, can I go by the color?
Yeah, sure.
Gray sweatpants are the one sweatpants that just, and I know that's kind of like the typical color, but you could get a pair of black sweatpants and people kind of have to are those sweatpants? From afar, you can't tell. But the minute you walk in with gray sweatpants, everybody knows you're wearing sweatpants. So, and I also think it's kind of age related. I think when you're a teenager, sweatpants for sure. No problem. And hey, if you want to wear sweatpants around your house, trust me, I do. I got a pair of sweats that I wear just around the house. I love it. Come home, they're comfy, right? You relax, right? It's awesome. But I don't wear them to a movie theater. I don't wear them to a hockey game. I don't wear them out for dinner. I do think there's certain, if I'm going out for dinner, I'm not wearing sweatpants. I'm sorry. Somebody's like, it doesn't matter what you dress like. I'm like, the restaurant. I don't care where the restaurant is. If I'm going out for dinner, it's a sit-down restaurant, I'm not wearing sweatpants.
Yeah, I do totally agree with the age thing. I think junior high kids, high school,
totally.
I remember going through it. I went to Parkview. You had the Parkview Panthers sweatpants. Of course, you're going to wear them to school. They're easy. You throw shorts on underneath, you're good to go. I don't like them anymore. At home, I rarely wear sweatpants. I've got a couple pairs. the ones that are kind of in the middle are like the Lulus, where I don't really know what the home is for those. Should I be wearing them out? Should I be wearing them just at home?
Well, some Lulus, like nowadays, you can get like those Lulus that got the pleat on them,
Like a dress pant, yeah.
like they almost look dressy. So now, I wouldn't wear them as like trying to pretend I'm dressing. I'm not going to wear a collared shirt and Lulus and try to spin them off as like dress pants. But they seem like a slight step up, and like again, it's the color.
Yeah.
To me, it's just if you have black sweatpants or brown sweatpants, or even brown maybe not, but black or blue, it's just different than the grays. You don't like that kind of, not the dark gray, but like the light gray cons. It's just
Classic sweatpant gray, yeah.
classic, but it kind of looks grungy. That's what it looks like to me.
I think they get dirty easier too.
Oh,
like
sure.
Yeah. So when you wear the dark ones, you can kind of cover it up. At home, though, I'm all for it. Yeah. I went out once wearing sweatpants and a hoodie matching, and I felt so weird. I'm like, what am I doing? Oh, I look like I came from the gym or something. Jeans for me when I leave the house.
Like, were you going to like a drug deal or something?
No, I was actually just going to Safeway.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
What about pajama pants? You own pajama pants?
No, I don't actually.
You've never owned pajama
I
pants?
have in the past for sure, but now I don't. Now
you have Lulus, right?
I've got a pair of Lulus. I go for the shorts around the house a lot, like the athletic short.
Really?
Yeah.
Just trying to get some action wearing the tight shorts around the wife all the time? Oh, that's okay. I can respect that move.
Yeah.
Right on. Hey, what's happening here?
Game recognized game.
Oh, yeah. Benny needs a younger sibling. I get it. I understand it. Makes sense. That one I can get by. Now, does she match you, though? Does she wear the short shorts? Because, see, that would be a good plan, Cons.
No,
You got to do. You got to say, honey, where's your shorts?
She's like president of the sweatpant club at home.
And like really baggy ones. She's probably wearing like the big baggy sweat tank top. And you're like, come on.
The Kirkland sweatpants.
Oh, what are the, there's like a special brand of sweatpants?
Oh, that's like the Costco brand. Yeah.
Kirkland.
Yeah.
Really? All right.
Her and Josh Fenwick are big supporters of those. He wears the Kirkland sweater a lot too.
Oh, yeah. He does love the sweater.
Yeah.
Or it's like a mini Struds.
Big sweater guy.
He does love the sweater guy for sure. So, yeah, I don't. I like sweatpants. We got a lot of texts coming in on this. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, gray sweatpants run into a Canadian Tire. Never again. See? There you go. There's just like, they walk in and they're just like, uh-oh, here comes trouble. Like, might be wrong, but I think people, if they notice, because I know that how people walk, well, especially nowadays, people their hands out there on their phone. Like, God, if there was a way to ban that, like in the mall, do you know how many people you could just walk into because they're staring down at their phone? Like, and I sometimes I feel like I'm not, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going, just even because I have my head up and I refuse to walk and have my phone when I'm walking. I hate it. Like, you could just hammer people in the mall all the time because their heads down, and you know what? So, hey, I'd rather see someone in sweats with their head up than a jean wear and their head down, buried in their phone. So I'll just say that.
The Duke and I joke, I want to teach this kid a lesson.
Yeah.
Just walk into me. But I'll see it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could teach a lot of kids a lesson at the mall, and not just kids. I shouldn't say that.
No, it's
adults
not just
as
kids,
well.
man. It's tons of adults.
Mhm.
Seniors, anybody. You're just like we could probably shoot a whole short in the mall and just have one of our staffers just walk down the mall and see and say, you know what? Just keep your line. Don't deviate, and see how many people you run into. Like in the first hour, easily 50 people.
Oh, yeah.
No question. Like some of them are they're so oblivious to what's going on around them. It's a sad, sad state. Like the walking phone zombie. What is someone texting me? Oh my God, I got to get back to them right away. Or I don't know what they're playing, some game on their phone as they're walking through the mall. Like, come on. If I owned the mall, I would ban that, Cons.
I'd also try to have people oblige by the rules of the road. If you're walking on the right side of the mall, go with traffic. If you're on the left, like.
So you're saying if the mall on the right should always be going the direction like you would in a vehicle.
Yeah, I would love that.
Ooh, wow.
Slower traffic stays right.
And then you got to know where your store is and then cross over at the right time.
Absolutely. I'll give people like a certain distance where they can go on the opposite side. But when you're trying to go in your direction and you've got so many oncoming mall walkers, It's just something I would implement if I could. Maybe arrows on the ground.
Okay. All right. This just coming down. Well, not just, but it came down a little bit earlier. Josh Doan, a 7-year extension. Connor Halley will get you his AAV coming up here in a Sports 1440 update. So obviously Buffalo pretty happy about that, and that trade has worked out well for both teams, but really well for Buffalo, and obviously Josh Doan, who just landed himself a 7-year extension. Let's get to the Con Man and the Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Loca. Chef-prepared meals. 2 locations, Edmonton and Sherwood Park, but now they will deliver anywhere. Go online, meals.loca.ca. Hundreds of meals to choose from, delivered right to your door, low as $10 a serving. Check it out, meals.loca.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
As Jason just mentioned, Buffalo Sabres signing Josh Doan to a 7-year contract extension with an AAV of $6.95 million. In 49 games this season, Doan has 15 goals, 20 assists, and 35 points total. On the ice tonight, you do have the Red Wings taking on the Leafs, Avs host the Ducks, Flyers taking on the Mammoth, Flames and Penguins, Islanders in Seattle, and the Canucks hosting the Washington Capitals. In the association, Toronto Raptors continue their trip in California, taking on the Kings. Tip-off at 8. We've also got the Bucks and Thunder, Pistons in New Orleans, Grizz up against the Hawks, Nets and Knicks, Pacers, Celtics, and the Hornets host the Cavs. In the AJ, some afternoon action. Grand Prairie knocked out Drayton Valley 5-4 in overtime, and after 20 minutes, Cam Rose up on Whitecourt 2-1. In the WHL, Oil Kings in action, hosting the Pats. Puck drop 7 o'clock down at Rogers Place. And in the PWHL, Montreal taking on Minnesota at 5. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we've got another edition of the Business of Sport with longtime NHL player agent Rich Winter. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
Sports 1440 is your front row seat to the wild world of sports. Local legends, national headlines, and everything in between. Your game, your station. This is Sports 1440.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Vinny and Don in Hockey are dedicated to skill development for all hockey players. If you know a student athlete interested in growing as a person and a player, register for a free shadow day. Beginner or experienced, this program develops a student athlete skill in a supportive environment. It's a great opportunity for prospective student athletes entering grades 3 through 12 to see what Vimy and Donnan have to offer. Visit vimyridge.epsb.ca or donnan.epsb.ca for more info and to sign up.
New Year's resolutions. We all make them. We all say we're going to start eating healthier or going to the gym or starting that new hobby. But at GS Construction, we actually follow through on our New Year's resolution because it's the same every year. We promise to set the groundwork, literally, for another year of progress and growth. And we've stuck by that resolution since 1974. So start that all-you-can-eat diet. GS Construction is going to start planning right now for the year ahead. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips, we fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Welcome back. It is Wednesday afternoon here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. As always, The Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. We got a great hour for you. Of course, every Wednesday, 4 o'clock, usually at 4 o'clock anyway. That means we go into the business of sports as we welcome in Rich Winter, our regular co-host. Rich, how are you, my man?
I'm good. Just had trouble getting Simon directions here out of downtown, but all worked out pretty well. I should have told him now with the weather that and with all the ice, it's actually a 3-hour drive.
It is. Well, it depends which street you come up. Sometimes 178th can be a little.
Well, it was
bit
interesting the other day. I was having lunch. Well, this was in the fall. Was having lunch with Calvin Pickard, and he was telling me that the traffic on Stony Plain Road, all the construction, right? And he says him and about 3 or 4 of the guys just run to work oftentimes. Well, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they're not. So they're warmed up, I guess, when they get there. But can you imagine though, like if you're walking your dog and you go, "Yeah, it looks like McDavid and Pickard and Nurse."
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. That can't be.
Yeah,
And you
can't
go,
be. Where they go. And today in the business of sports, special guest joining us in studio, 25 years of experience in the health and fitness world. He's an entrepreneur, of course, used to work for the Edmonton Oilers, of course, now runs Archetype and many other things. Simon Bennett joins us. Simon, welcome back to the show, my man. How you doing?
I am super excited to be here, although I will have to add to what Rich said. The traffic is horrendous in the city right now.
Oh, yeah.
And just getting here was a challenge, but I'm excited to be able to chat about the sport of business here for the next hour.
I actually got lucky. I had to get my rock chip repaired. I don't know if anybody's had that happen to Edmonton, but it took them like 15 minutes.
Oh, really?
So I was like, had all this time.
Well, actually,
a little shopping and it was good.
I always take 107 because I was actually coming from the dentist this morning on 107. Normally 107th is great, but as I was going eastbound on 107th from 124th, there was like a massive police they blocked off 107th. They had this huge, and somebody out there, some policeman can tell me, it was like massive police trucks. So it was blocked off on the whole road. So then I had to take a detour around to get in. It was blocked off for, I don't know, probably a good hour and a half. And but I'd like to know what they call that truck. But it looked like that was some serious
Should
stuff.
I do the chopper sound? So like we're doing this.
Yeah, we're doing the chopper. No,
report?
this was earlier. It's cleared up now, but that was interesting. Now, Simon, in the business of sport, we always talk about different businesses that are related to sports, right? Like everybody would love to be the athlete, but the truth of the matter is there's very few people that can be the athlete in pro sports. But, Rich, obviously we've talked about agents, we've talked about managers, we've talked about we've had different trainers on. You're in a different one. We've had equipment guys and everything. So I want to go back into kind of, for you, the education aspect of you to get your job. So what did you take in university, or what degree do you have?
Well, we're going way back, right? So Jason, we're talking about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I have an exercise physiology degree.
Okay.
But I also have a teacher education degree. So I actually carry a double degree. The interesting thing about it is that when I went through my teacher education training, I realized at that moment that I never wanted to do that type of teaching, which is high school ed teaching. And so, but what's interesting is that the career path that I've chosen has a lot of teaching and instruction involved in it. So I think I'm really a teacher by trade, and I do come from a family of teachers. So my parents were both teachers.
Okay.
But my formal education is really around exercise physiology, science, kinesiology, and that's really my passion play. And so it's led me in all the directions.
It's not a shock you say that, Simon, because Coach Wooden, who is best of all time by anybody's standard, he says, I think of myself first and foremost as a teacher.
Yeah. Well, teaching in a lot of like coaching is teaching. It's specific to one element. But if you're a math teacher, you teach math. If you're a hockey coach, you coach hockey, right? You're trying to teach and
some guys
and
in
educate.
the coaching fraternity haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, maybe not. But you went 30 years ago, and just when you think of the advancements in technology, from what you and how, and probably even just when it comes to training and how we used to train to now what you train now, I would think. So I want to go there. Like when you came out 30 years ago and you're like, okay, you know what? Geez, I'm a real bright-eyed, bushy-tailed guy. I know everything. Like, I'm going to get you guys in great shape. And you could for that point. But what has been maybe the biggest thing in your sphere that has changed maybe in your mindset or just in the education of understanding how to train athletes different or maybe better now than it was 30 years ago?
Yeah, I think like how I probably would answer that question is I think over the period of decades, there's always like major shifts in what we're doing, I think from an industry perspective. But I think if I was just to kind of answer very simply, what is the biggest change? I think the biggest change is technology. And so how we're using technology is in the process of data collection, right? So I think when I was with the Oilers, that was one of the big initiatives that I had, was to try to bring a high performance initiative. And thank God we got Dallas Eakins, because he was the guy that actually really helped spearhead that whole initiative towards, trying to take training to another level where you're focusing on it as more of a holistic experience. But the key to it was to be able to collect and manage data.
Okay.
And so, if you look at what Chad Drummond does now with the team, it's literally a sports science process that's happening within the club walls. You're analyzing all kinds of internal load. You're looking at external load measures, and then you're trying to take, because you're literally getting hit with all this different technology that's kind of being offered to you. So it's everything from movement training devices to like ways to upskill recovery, to help with repair, to nutritional strategies, to sleeping strategies. I mean, everything is getting, you're getting hit all the time. And so your process now is really, how do I take all this wonderful information and then apply it to a common sense approach, which is to obviously elevate performance each and every day that you're there. And so I think that is probably the biggest thing that you're seeing, is that there's been this massive shift now. Like, information is everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're having to now filter that information down to like what really actually works.
And I'm assuming like what's going to work for hockey probably might work differently for baseball and football, but there's still going to be some bases like sleep. Sleep seems to be the one thing that people have figured out. Like, geez, sleep's pretty important.
Actually, I don't think they have figured it out.
No,
because I had an interesting meeting with Jarmo Kekalainen a few months ago, and he had a sleep expert come over from Finland, analyze all of what their players were doing, and concluded that generally the pregame nap is the worst thing the player can be doing, because he's getting a lot of deep sleep early. Most of them are not falling back into deep sleep after a game because it's been too close to their nap.
Yes,
and they need the deep sleep to recover, and they're not getting any.
So ideally the nap should be what, 45 minutes?
Yeah. So I mean, if it's really common sense approach, right? Because when you think about how the sleep cycle works, right, as you go from light sleep into kind of deeper sleep, there's a certain time frame. But those cycles all tend to be around 90 minutes, right? Now, again, like if you talk to different experts, I think everybody will debate, like, is it 90 minutes? Is it 80 minutes? Is it 110? Well, let's just say it's somewhere within that zone. So I think what Rich is saying is that, these experts are looking at it and they're saying, like, a lot of guys, and I come across this all the time. Like I deal with players and they say, I like a two and a half hour nap. And I said, so here's what you're faced with, right? Kid's been doing it since he was in junior, right? So he's constantly, this is what he's used to. So I think we also have to be respectful of the fact that the body will adapt to whatever you do.
Yeah.
So what the science says in terms of like the ideal, call it nap, that's going to help you kind of bridge your gap and restore your nervous system and help you get ready for the game, I think is 45 minutes. But again, we're all different. We're all, sort of biochemically different. And I think we have to realize that, yes, the science says this, but we've got a player that sleeps 2.5 hours and he feels amazing and he plays well. So,
and you have guys who don't sleep at all,
right,
who play just as well.
Right. So despite the science, right, you can back it out. It's a great presentation. Like, honestly, like you stand in front of a group of people and you say, look, like, here's what a normal cycle is. And if you extend beyond that, you now move into deep sleep, which kind of destroys your later sleep. But more importantly, you get a little bit of like sleep inertia, where you're coming out of it, you feel a little bit groggy. But that would only be for you and I, Jason, because we don't sleep, right?
Well, it's funny. Like, I love naps. Like,
you do nap.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I don't get to nap, but when I do, it's just like Christmas all the time.
Last time, I think last week you napped.
Oh, I did.
While we were here.
Trust,
No, while we were here.
When I nap, I can fall asleep fast. That's the other thing. Some people will say they'll lay in bed and that, geez, I can't nap. They can't do it. Whereas the minute I lay down, within 5 minutes, I'm out. I'm not like, my wife's sort of like, don't try to talk to me when the light, like, it's not working. She get offended. Like, you fell asleep mid conversation. I'm like, yeah, I've told you that. I get comfortable. I'm falling asleep. So I could always fall asleep. But some people I know when they like, because we got people texting in all the time, like for athletes, but even for the average human, like lots of people in Europe, like in Italy, they have a nap. You're a worker, you nap, right? We don't. How much you think, because I know you deal with a lot of athletes, but if you just look at the average person, do most of us, would we benefit? Like, if a company came and we had like, I remember some offices for a while, they had like a nap room, right? And they would go there and people would nap.
Yeah.
And if it was for 40 minutes or a half, do you think that would benefit the average person?
Well, it really depends, right? And so I offer that caveat only because it really depends. If you're, say, sleep deprived, so let's say you're short sleeping, right?
Yeah.
So you're not really getting, so you're creating what's called sleep debt. I think your example works, right? But let's say you're Simon Bennett and you get 8 hours of sleep, consistently day in, day out, and that's your wheelhouse. For me to nap, I mean, unless I'm going through a lot of excessive stress or maybe, a workload that is maybe over and above what I'm normally used to, maybe you can make an argument. But the one thing that I share with people when it comes to sleep is that everything is based on circadian rhythm. So our bodies are biologically hardwired to follow a rhythm. So I just did a talk the other day for Avison and Young, and we were talking about signaling, and we were talking about the importance of sending the right signals to the body. And I was also addressing what signals matter most. And so I dove in to sleep. And I said, one of the most important things that you can do to help improve your sleep, and I think a lot of people kind of, like when sleep experts come on, they always say, you got to have your room temperature at this point. You've got to make sure, blue light, all this stuff. And I always think, okay, those are fairly standard things. And yes, they all do apply, but it really depends on whether you have an issue falling asleep, right?
Yes.
Do you have an issue unwinding, all kinds of stuff. So yes, that might have an application, but I'm going to tell you that I think most people, their sleep habits are all over the place. Like, are you always within a 30-minute window of going to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time? And if you're not, just think you're always putting your body in a stress state. You're always putting your body on its toes.
Yeah.
And so I would say that if you're not addressing the circadian rhythm, which is our natural biological rhythm, which is regulated by the moon and the sun, right? So when you wake up in the morning, your body is exposed to light. And if you're not, you should be getting out within 30 minutes of waking and get that light into your mind, into your eyes, because once you do that, what that does is that tells the brain, okay, we're waking up, we're now getting ready. And so the body will work on the clock, right?
Mhm.
And so it realizes that at 6 or 7 o'clock, I need to start down regulating. I need to start shifting into more parasympathetic tone and then allowing my body to kind of rest and digest and get myself into a proper sleep mode, right? But if I'm not getting there, for example, if I'm eating a lot of food late at night, I'm spiking my blood sugar, I'm increasing my cortisol, and my body thinks, okay, we're ready to go do battle now.
Yeah.
And so then the body then says, okay, let's do that. But the hockey player is in a tough spot because they play at what time and then they finish at what time.
And they always eat after the game.
So they're battling circadian. But the hockey player will adapt. Like the body, the best part about the body is the body will adapt, right? It's just that if you're a shift worker, where half the time, like my daughter, she works in nursing, half the time she's working all-nighters.
Yeah.
And so it's this fragmentation of sleep that I think is probably more dangerous, right, from a sleep perspective than say short sleeping, right, which I call, which
and we
is where you're
forget
not
about
getting,
the athletes who live in Anaheim, fly to New York, for road trip.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be going to bed at like 6 o'clock their time, so that's a challenge. I actually have the best sleeping hack for anybody who that falls asleep. I think I told you this. Joe Rogan or any podcast you like, save them all up, turn them on the minute you wake up, and it at least my brain, it prevents me from thinking because I'm listening to the podcast. I saved a
So you listen to it in the morning?
No, I turn it on the minute I wake up in the middle of the night. I just turn it on my phone.
Oh.
And then I listen to it.
And it puts you back to sleep?
Yeah, because I'm trying, and it's always frustrating because I wake up going,
You're not supposed to sleep. Do you have your phone on? Because you're not supposed to have all the.
I don't care what
the
you're
wire.
not supposed to do because humans, as we've
Jason, I got to tell you, he's breaking all the rules.
Yeah, I know, breaking all the rules.
It's
I'm
like a
confused. I want to
miracle.
know this. I want to know what's going
No,
on
but it's
here.
a miracle. Like, why
Well,
wouldn't
it might
you
be
do
a miracle. Yeah, you're
It's
like
okay,
Jesus.
put
You're
your
walking
phone-
on
put your
water.
phone in the
You're
other-
sleeping with all the phone waves coming
Right.
through you.
I
No
mean, he's
wonder
got
you're waking up.
DMR. He's got
He's got his. You have a sleep apnea machine too?
No, am I supposed to not have the TV and the radio on at the same time? Is that-
yeah.
But
That's not working for
That's
you.
really interesting that works for him.
Yeah.
Because to me it would do the opposite. It would fire me up.
Oh, I'd
'cause
be wired away. I couldn't do
I'd be
it.
like, I'd start listening to
Yeah.
him and
Knock
say,
it.
hey, like,
Don't knock it.
No,
What's
I
going
know.
on?
Everybody's going to have different things at work. And
Absolutely.
that's why, because I wanted
Well, you got to try what works for you,
Yes.
and you might. I might come up with this miraculous thing for me that works for. I may be the only guy on the planet.
Yeah, you might be.
Which brings it down to how hard it is for Simon to do his job, because we don't know what the standard is.
And that's where obviously sleep is one thing, but being, training athletes, especially elite level athletes to the difference in 1 or 2%. And we had Ty Emberson on the show earlier, and he had a foot injury in San Jose that ended his season. He didn't get to train like he wanted to in the summer. He comes in Edmonton last year, his first year in Edmonton.
Yeah.
What wasn't great. This year, Ty Emerson's playing fantastic. So I talked to him. What was the biggest difference? Well, I got to train how I wanted to. I had more time to focus on what I wanted to do. And so we'll take a break with Simon. What I want to come back is because training at all different levels, but even training for the average person to stay healthy, walking 20 minutes a day. We can go from the most basic thing that we should all be doing to the top end thing which is for the 1% of people that's their job, to be elite level athletes, and where that's really changed. I'm curious to hear kind of the differences of that when it comes to just physical training. And because heavy weights used to be the thing, but Nathan McKinnon the other day on game days, he now lifts heavy weights, very short reps. And 5 years or even 10 years ago, people be like, what? You don't lift heavy because you're going to tire yourself out. But it's funny how things change. So I want to get your thoughts on that when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on mega jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Hear ye, hear ye. Dragon fruit has returned to Booster Juice. Prepare thyself for the legendary alchemy of the Dragon Slayer smoothie, Pink Dragon Booster Mixer, and Dragon Booster Ball. Does the dragon taste like chicken? Hey, Booster Juice uses only delicious tropical dragon fruit. No dragons are harmed. Get thee to Booster Juice before dragon fruit vanishes once more.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Invest for today and tomorrow. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your income tax, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams, whether it's retirement or your first home. The deadline to qualify for 2025 tax deductions is March 2nd. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
Measles outbreaks are occurring in Canada, including Alberta. These outbreaks are highly preventable. Measles is an extremely contagious disease that is spread easily through the air. The best way to protect yourself, your family, and your community is to ensure you are up to date with your immunizations. Don't get measles. Get immunized. Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers are back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and you can play score and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, the business of sports. Rich Winter with us. Also, we have Simon Bennett, 25 years in the fitness industry, but of course, got a little bit of a science background because now science and fitness are really kind of intertwined to understand all of it when it comes to get their body to be functioning at the best possible motion. Lots of time recovery. We talked about sleep in the first segment. And Simon, we touched on a little bit of a teaser about, the heavy weight lifting. Nathan McKinnon, it was talking about how he just kind of implemented later. But I remember Struds telling me the story that I think was last or second last year with the Oilers that you actually got him. And he was like, what are you talking about lifting heavy on the day of a game? Can you go through, and now I want people to listen to this. Simon's going to break it down why and how to do it the right way. Because some people think, I'm going to get in the gym and now I'm doing 10 of 10 and, max reps. Totally. So what was the number that you were doing and what's the basis into why it helps guys on game days?
Yeah, great question. So it looks crazy and counterintuitive to what you think. Why am I producing a lot of fatigue? But I think what we have to kind of share with people is that when it comes to strength training, it's a neuromuscular activity. So it does require the operating system, which is our nervous system, to be able to execute it. So and I use the example off air with you, which is that if I'm lifting a load that is, say, representative of 50% of my strength, right? My body is going to immediately feel that and recognize it only needs to recruit so much. Like, we're efficient in everything that we do.
Okay.
But if the idea is to get rapid excitation and hardwire me to get ready to enter a sporting environment, whatever that may look like, right? Whether it's hockey or football, one of the things or one of the strategies that I can do to get me there quickly is I can use a heavy load, a moderately heavy load, right? So I would say anywhere from 75 to 80%. And then I may execute 2 reps. And what I'm doing by performing that movement for 2 reps, right? So I use the example of, like, say, a deadlift, right? Which is very posterior chain. So it's working all the muscles on the backside, which are opposite to what happens when I skate. So this was a very popular exercise that we would select because it doesn't really attack some of the things that get overused when you're actually playing the sport of hockey, right?
Okay.
So that was number one. But why we did it was we wanted to increase the motor unit recruitment. So the nerve that drives and recruits the muscle fibers for the party, right, is the example, to lift the load, right, gets more elevated the higher I go towards max strength. So the farther I can push myself to max strength, the more motor unit recruitment I get. So guess what that helps me do? That helps me step up. So we would pair that with a box jump. So it's called contrast training. So it's usually something that requires an elastic component. So the example of like basically dropping into a squat and then pounding yourself up onto a high box, right, challenges the nervous system to be able to become more elastic and more explosive. So that's a very popular because when you actually go through that exercise, you actually feel lighter. You feel more charged up. You feel a sense of energy. And so when I introduced Struds, it was actually at the end of his career. But as I shared to you off air, all the players were doing this.
Okay.
Like I'm talking like this was a major part of Ethan Morrow's program. This was a major part of, what Stevie Stais did. And so this wasn't like overly new or novel. And so I know you're, kind of positioning this as something that's unique and different, but I'm going to also suggest to you that we also had Alice Shemsky at that time.
Yeah.
And Alice used to always say to me, Benny, so my nickname is Benny, like the game's stressful enough as it is. Like, why would I want to wind myself up, before a game? Like all this like plyometric stuff and like these heavy lifts, like, come on, Benny. Like I want to relax, man.
Yeah,
And I thought to myself,
else
yeah,
wake up
and it was
going.
really telling because I was like, Alex, you just do Alex. Like Alex,
Yeah,
don't
for you, it's not
you-
gonna be great.
Yeah, like if I bring you in here, but a guy like a Sean Horkoff, like he was all over this stuff. Like I mean, he was an animal, and he felt liberated when he did it. And when they would get on the ice for warmups, they felt like they're ready
when
to
would
take on a lion.
So if the game was at 7,
Yeah.
right? Warm-ups normally 6:25.
Yeah.
When would you do the weights and the plyometrics?
Probably about an hour up before game.
Oh, okay.
So the ritual was always the same, right? You got your meeting. So you'd come into the gym, you're kind of just filling time, talking to the, equipment guys, like hanging out, bullshit and drinking a coffee, that kind of stuff. The routines are always the same. And then they go for meeting, right? And once you've done that meeting, that meeting takes an hour and a half. God, I'm forgetting now, but it was somewhere in that time frame. And then right after meeting, that's when the guys start to get ready, right? Now they might do something before the meeting, but after the meeting is when they kind of start to fire up. So that's when you would see, as a guy walking through, media guy walking through, you'd see the guys kicking the soccer ball around, maybe some guys doing some SAQ work, some dynamic patterning, that kind of stuff. Everybody kind of did what they felt they needed to do to get ready. But at the end of the day, the whole thing was like, how do I get ready? And how do I activate my nervous system? So I want to turn it on so that it's ready to play. So that when that puck drops, I'm freaking charged up.
So let's say, you're somebody and you're a track athlete. I know that like track athletes really warm up, and because when they're a sprinter, like you've got to go 100% for 10 seconds. It's crazy, right? Even a 400 meter for a minute, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But so you're doing that, and you would say you would do like one or two, you would literally deadlift at 75% of a weight that you'd normally do. You just do it once.
You're not producing any fatigue.
Yeah.
Right.
And then 3 plyo jumps. And then would you do it again, or is it just that's it?
You do 2 to 3 sets.
2 to 3 sets.
Yeah.
One lift, 2 quick jumps, rest, 1 lift, 2 quick jumps. And it just kind of gets your body motion. Now we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But truthfully, some guys would do it and go, Benny, I'm feeling tired. Right. So that's telling you that they're not adapting. Right. And so you'd have to then rework it and say, listen, like, I think we should maybe stay away from that, because you can overdo the nervous system excitation. Like there's times where you have to like calm the thing down.
Okay.
And so it's not a black and white world.
Right. Yeah. Of course not.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you think about it. I was with my old volleyball coach at University of Calgary having coffee the other day, and it just reminded me of the way we trained. And this is no other sport I'm aware that I've been involved with did this. We would do a thing called down training. Yeah. I remember when I first started there, these guys were good. We had the national team there. We were national champions. Like we trained like nuts for 10 days, 2 weeks. And then as we get closer to the event, because we only played like 4, 5, 6 tournaments, right?
Yeah.
That we would down train. And the first Friday, the first tournament, I thought I was going to hit my head on the roof. So you think of all these different types of sports. It's not one size fits all.
No.
And you train with your, because you obviously were in hockey for a long time, but do you see like, some sports have to have explosiveness, like quick twitch muscle, boom. Now, if you're, then there's a little bit more endurance depending on certain sports. Does the training, is it really that drastically different? Or is the foundation to be a good athlete similar regardless of sport?
I think the intention is constantly evolving in terms of like if you're talking about an S&C coach or somebody who's overseeing an off-season training program for a guy, I think the intention is always shifting based on what guys are facing, right? So, and I think this shifts and moves and adjusts from one, I would say 1 year to the next, but also from one decade to the next in terms of like what the guys are going through. So, I mean, the guys are so fast and so explosive. And it just seems like in the last 3 years, like they're just playing night in, night out. I mean, the game is just like, they're not even practicing really, for all intents and
It's
purposes.
like during the COVID, I think it was a COVID year, the last lockout. Chicago Blackhawks on the way to they
don't
second
practice,
cup. They didn't practice ever.
Ever
during the season.
So which is really interesting because it's all about like managing load, right? So it's like, are we allowing for these guys to be able to bounce back? Are they all able to stay high performing, right? Can they stay optimized with what they're doing? But I think to answer your question, because you were very straight up with this in terms of like, is there a change? I would say that the thing that is really shifting is like, how do we really keep guys resilient? Like the injuries in hockey are very evident, right?
Yes.
Low back, groins, inguinal hernias, groin strains. Those tend to be the big ones. And then of course you've got shoulders with the contact nature of the game. You don't see the knee injuries the way that we used to see them, like back in the day when they had a lot of the open ice hitting, like the Martians and around the world that were, submarining guys and stuff like that. And I think the league has really kind of helped police a lot of that stuff a lot. And so you really don't see a lot of that anymore. But what you do see is these, what are called soft tissue injuries. And
You see more Achilles, it seems now.
Unless it got cut by the skate blade.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
Well, more in basketball and football.
Sorry.
Off-season training.
When you're asking me this question, I'm thinking hockey.
Okay,
So those injuries, like each sport has different tissue that is under stress, like soccer, anything, turf sports, hamstrings, right? Those are obviously evident. But honestly, like it's almost an intense fascination for me to really delve into like, how do we prevent and create resiliency? Because I think anybody can destroy any athlete with load and with exercise and a lack of awareness and knowledge around exactly what it is that they're intentionally trying to do with the player. The other thing is that I find in hockey specifically that when you go off ice, right, the two really don't like the reality is that if I'm pressured to make somebody faster off ice, right, it's kind of an interesting concept because you don't have the same surface, you don't have the same footwear, you don't carry the same mechanics. It's all
angling,
completely
like,
different. The
it's
angling
not
is
the
all
same.
different, right? So, but I think we've come to this, like we went through early in I'd say the middle part of my career where we started to think off-ice training was like this big thing that, like if you weren't doing it, I remember Ethan Morrow telling me that like, I don't skate till frickin' mid-August, right? And it's like, holy crap, like, you got, I got to regenerate my body and all this stuff, right? But it was that kind of mindset where it was like, don't skate. Now the thinking is different. Like, can we build the speed on ice? Like, and that's, I think, become the fascination with sports directors is like, why are we trying to build speed in the gym? Like, let's build a hard drive and build tissue quality that is basically bulletproof. And then let's put them on the ice and make them do the work off the ice because that's the natural environment and the habitat that they have to survive in. So why are we not doing that more in that area? And so I think that at the NHL level, it's absolutely happening. Like it is what's going on. But I think, and I know, obviously talking to Chad, that this is something that they're really driving. It's major shifts that he's made. But I would say that, for the guy that works with athletes in the summer, like we do, like we have a program where we have 75 like high level athletes that work in our program. And those athletes it's expensive. Ice time is expensive. And then the expertise in skating, I mean, you got to go to a different guy and he doesn't necessarily align philosophically with everything you're doing. So there are some limitations, but at the end of the day, I've developed like an intense fascination with, can we match the tissue loading that an athlete, if he's a hockey player, undergoes so that he becomes bulletproof. So whether he gets put into skating postures or whatever, he can handle it and thrive and survive, right? And so I think that's honestly one of the biggest shifts is really working on that. And I don't want to use the word mobility. stability, because I think it gets overused. I think it's about, can I build strength to the key muscles that have functional purpose in the body, and recognize when that muscle's not on, or when that muscle's not working well, or when it doesn't have capacity. And if it doesn't have capacity, I need to make sure that it does.
See, I will show Simon the homography that we talked about last week, where you can actually overlay while skating, and you can actually compare the strides and other of various players, because you can do this 3D animation of each guy, and or the AQ that we talked about briefly, that will identify these soft tissues before they manifest. There's still a long ways to go from where a hockey team, even at the NHL level, is, as to compare to the science where it is. Because I would say NHL teams generally are probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 years behind the science.
Rich Winter joins us, also our special guest today in studio, Simon Bennett, 25 years, of course, a former conditioning strength coach for the Edmonton Oilers, and just the evolution of it. And like, I always like to get, kind of people that have worked in the field a lot, and you've trained young athletes, you've trained older athletes, and, overtraining for young athletes seems to be one of the more detrimental things at times. And maybe because it's just done wrong. Right. And so, and I know that everybody's different, right? Like, we can't just say, okay, well, you know what, you're going to train this 13-year-old and they're going to be the exact same as this other 13-year-old. Well, physically they're different. We see it. Anybody who plays sports, and you look at, one kid is 5'1" and the other kid's 6'1", and, 180 pounds, and some are 85 pounds. So I'm sure there's some differences, but have you learned or seen over the 30 years, like, what are some of the mistakes that parents need to be aware of to avoid, so they're not damaging? Because I still read studies, the number one thing that stops athletes from reaching their potential is injuries. It's still the number one thing.
Yeah.
So are there some training things you would look and say, hey, if something like this is going on, like, maybe that's a red flag? Are there things to avoid, especially like that teenage years into young adulthood, where, because they're, I gotta go. And they think that if they take a day off,
gotta get bigger,
that's a bad thing. But there's obviously a key element into that. What have you learned in that regard?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. So I would say that what is the biggest issue? I think the biggest issue for parents is expectation, like what something will do, right?
Okay,
so it's like, I got to get my kid in off-ice training because he's getting pushed off the puck, and that, like, he needs to get stronger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you look at, like, the average, like, if you look at most hockey players, like, they're built to play hockey, right? And so I remember we used to obsess about, like, Nugent Hopkins, and, like, the fact that he needed to put on all this weight, and there was so much pressure, like, to do this. And the reality is that, was that best suited for him, right? And, I don't know what the answer is, but I would say this, is that I used to work with Mike Comrie. I remember this, and this is a great story. So when he finally decided he had to get out of Dodge, right?
Yeah.
Like, when he had to leave town.
I remember that.
And he said, hey, I got to go down. I'm going to go down. I'm going to train with TR Goodwin. Well, TR Goodwin puts like 60 pounds on the kid, right? And I want to say, and I think if Mike was listening to the show, I think Mike would agree with me that it was too much weight. It was like, he's 5'10", right?
Yeah.
Am I being generous?
Probably.
Yeah.
How NHL guys, they're 5'10", in real life, they're 5'8" now.
I think Mike's 6. Yeah, it skates.
But Mike's personality is 6'10", right?
Yeah,
so he's like, but the reality is that it didn't serve him well. And I remember he used to always say, like, he needed to protect himself and all this stuff. But TR put all this weight on him, and it was non-functional, right? And yet TR was considered, like, at that time, the next coming to Moses when it came to off-ice training, right? And it was because Chelios and all these guys were training with him, and, he was building up his reputation. But he didn't have any understanding of hockey like we do now. And what I'm saying is, I don't want to, like, be disrespectful to say, oh, he just did. I'm going to say we're probably all in the same boat at that time, in the sense that we just we didn't have the information we have now. But what I would say is, like, you asked me about parents, and I said it's about expectation. So I think that what we have to remember too is that when it comes to, like, something like speed, right? Can speed be built in the gym? Well, things like, do I have a force issue? So do I have a difficulty with producing strength? Then yes, going and hiring a trainer, getting somebody to work with your son or your athlete makes sense. But I also have to look at where he is developmentally. Like, has he entered puberty? Has he, like, is he now becoming a man? Like, because it's a waste of time. Otherwise, he can go into a strength program, but he's going to be mostly just working on neuromuscular strength, right?
Yeah.
It's not, there's going to be no cross-sectional area happening with that at that particular age. So there's always, it depends, right?
Yeah.
Depends on where the guy's at. But just on this line of thinking with respect to speed, if my kid has good strength, but could I give him more power? I can work on that off ice. I can develop power, right? But if he needs sport specific speed, like his ability to read a situation and then make a quick move, right? Whether that's a crossover step into 3 steps, then that's another matter. That's a hockey IQ thing where I've seen many examples. We used to have a guy like Anton Landers. Remember Anton?
Oh, yes.
This kid, like, they used to always say, wow, this guy's slow. Well, he's got one of the best vertical jumps on the team. He's got all this power and strength. Like, what are you talking about? I think his issue is that when he got brought up, I don't know if he got super nervous or he was worried about making mistakes, but he would hesitate. So he played small, right? When he got brought up. So he never really made that jump. But I mean, I think he plays on the national team here in Sweden now. Like, I think he's like plays at the highest level you can in the SSHL. Like, I think what I would say is that you really have to identify what the need is, right? And so strength training can be beneficial and it can be super impactful and can change the game if that's the elusive quality that an individual needs. And so I don't know if that's like a roundabout answer for the question you asked, but that is what I see. And so it's not that you can't work on it. You can. It's just that what is your expectation and what is your intention? Because it may not be the best method or the best way to get your kid to this
like
next
working
level.
hard
right?
is important, but
Yeah.
working hard and smart is the difference.
Well, expectations on what is it like? What's the end goal?
Yeah.
And what's it going to be? And just because you sign your son or your daughter up to get a trainer for 3 months doesn't mean they're suddenly going to be the fastest person on the team. Or because a lot of times,
Simon's right though. The fastest sometimes the decision making.
Yeah, well, that's the hockey IQ and that, and that's actually training the brain. And that's I wanted to take a break because I wanted to get on that. But the one thing is like players I talked about, Ryan Smith. Wasn't a very big guy, but Ryan Smith in front of the net, Struds was like, I never met a guy who was stronger on a stick. Right. So there was something very specific. Now, part of that's mental toughness of just like, sure, but there was a physical heat. You could not lift his stick. They used to joke it was a big wooden stick for the longest time, but Smitty wasn't very big. But in one element of the game, he was one of the strongest men on the ice.
Yeah.
Right.
Or along the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he obviously did certain training specifically for that. He wasn't lifting over his head, right? He wasn't probably doing bench press. I don't know what he would have done. And maybe it's part mental, but in those tight areas.
Sometimes technique, right?
Yeah. Oh, technique, I'm sure, right?
Right.
That's
So
part of it.
Also, I think you're also forgetting one other element, right? So I call it compete, right?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, compete. Yeah. Like grit. Because I always remember like 1 year I took Mike Comrie out. He was like, I think a 17-year-old phenom playing in the AJ, lighting everything up, setting the record books beyond. And I said, hey, Mike, can you come over with our rollerblade hockey team and play a game? The guys will love it, man. They'll just love having you out there. And he came out there and I remember a guy stripped him off the ball. And I'm telling you, his compete to get that ball back was off the chart. Like, I mean, and then I just thought, like, imagine what it would be like on the ice with him, like his level of compete.
Yeah.
So the question was Mike Comrie was a very strong kid, but I would say if you take that up the level, like you used the example of Ryan Smith, right? I just think Ryan's compete level's off the chart. Like it's like, and I always remember.
Do you think you can train that?
Well, I think you can like compete.
Yeah. Like, can you?
I think
can you
a
help
guy.
instill that.
So I think if a kid goes into an environment where he's training with other guys, and so that's why I feel like and I don't know if you want to get to this in this part of the segment, but what I would say is that a player in the right ecosystem will thrive, right? And the books have outlined that, right?
Because he's doing what
right,
if they're lazy,
it's monkey
the
see, monkey
leadership.
do. It's like, oh, that's how it's done. Like,
But
I don't need to give
you
up.
kind of need an alpha though.
You
who's
need
the
Kobe.
one
Yeah.
who's
You
going to
need-
raise the element of competition.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Matteo Gennaro is my son-in-law. I don't know if you know this, right?
Okay, and I did
so
not know that.
anyways, and he was playing 3-on-3 with Dylan Gunther, right? Who I also train.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that he lost the puck. Gunther lost the puck in 3-on-3, and he said Mateo got the puck and he was like doing his thing. And all of a sudden he said, whack. Gunther gets the puck back and he's gone.
Yeah.
And he goes, I could tell in that instant that the intensity of his stick being lifted, how significant it was and how fast he got the puck back, that he was dealing with somebody that was completely different. Like there was just something about that. So what is that? Is that, I think, is compete. I mean,
Desire.
yeah,
for sure.
desire, like a compete level, but also Dylan Gunther is also extremely fast twitch.
Mhm.
Like you see that in his shot, everything he does, right? And so I think there's some of that as well. But to my point, I think it's like this innate desire where you don't want to ever lose that puck. I mean, Gretzky talked about that, right? All the time.
Yeah.
You know, this is my puck and you can go find your other puck. And I think if you look at the guys around the league, especially the smaller players, like how do they survive? I think how they survive is they are so ferocious on the puck that once it's there, it's theirs.
Well, it's funny, you talk to kids who aren't ferocious, and the metaphor I've used to them is try and understand when you have that puck, you have a chance to make $25-30 million.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it, because I'll say to kids, so do you skate harder with the puck on a breakaway or to get a puck? And most will answer honestly that they skate faster with the puck.
Yeah.
Well, hello, you can't, and they don't get it. I've used the metaphor like she's the prettiest girl you've ever seen. Puck. And you don't want that guy to have her. And it's like you can somehow get them thinking differently. But Simon's right. If the culture's wrong, if there's no Sid, there's no Kobe in the room, you'll rise to the average.
You asked the question, like, is it trainable? And I think the simple answer is yes, if they're in the right ecosystem, right? Because they can learn it. But I mean, when you go to that, what is it, 0.01% level, NHL level, like I think you have to have certain ingredients, right?
What about, so there's so much of training that's evolved around the physical part of it, right? The neuros. What about training the brain? Have you implemented that at all? Like how because the power of the brain, number one, can really help us, in overcoming doubt and lots of stuff. Like there's tons of science studies proving that. And it also can be like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I'm not, right? You have that internal fight all the time. But, you talk about reading the plays and understanding. So you might, you trained all summer, man, I'm running my 100-meter dash faster than anything. Great. I'm quicker. But I get into the game, but now I got to make a split-second decision and I got to make it over and over again. And usually it's got to be the right one. When to pinch, right? When to dump the puck, when to pass it
without
off the boards.
fear, without fear.
So have you been able to, in your studies in science and even with your athletes, can you help train, like, and I use hockey sense because we're talking about hockey, but that aspect, or is that a total different element, do you find?
I find like what you're talking about is, can I train,
like do you do eye test, like for them to think and recognize things?
Yeah, we've done like years ago we had the vision boards, right?
I've seen
we
the
were
vision
working
boards.
on
I've done it.
Yeah. And all this stuff works. Like it's helpful. Like it makes you react quicker. Like I think the vision boards are better for goaltenders because I find that it's a little bit more like what you would experience if you were a goaltender. So I think that's more of a category. But is a player going to be helped by that? I absolutely think so, because you're basically switching the nervous system on and you're reading. And then, when you get into the more complex information where you're having to recall numbers that are flashing at you, so it's hitting your subconscious, but you're also having to stay away from lights that are lighting up. So even though they look green, you have to avoid the green. So you're having to avoid like where you're kind of thinking outside this, you're reacting, but you have to be able to control the subconscious. So there's lots of areas where you can be benefited in that area. But what we try to do is create within the culture fun elements, right? So we will work on those elements. Like it's like we do a lot of hand-eye coordination stuff, but I feed it early into the training.
Okay.
So for example, and I find that when you have an element of competition, everybody steps up. So what we do is we pit guys against each other, and it just allows them to kind of hardwire.
Yeah.
So is that a game changer? I think it emboldens the culture, which means that there's going to be a greater amount of learning going on. But I also think that they are getting a stepping up effect that helps them in everything else that they're doing. But is it significant to move his ability to respond to a signal quicker? arguably, I think you'd have to really kind of do an independent study on that.
Okay.
And we used to do that with the vision boards. Like we could actually test to see if guys were actually getting
Because I
quicker.
remember when they had the
So-
vision board, and then you had to yell the number that would pop up and different things.
Yeah. And there's lots of factors that affect it, right? And so remember Karen Muncie? I don't know if you remember. She was the original pioneer. And I worked with her quite extensively. And she would do these intense write-ups on players and how they would, I mean, actually, so her story is that Glenn Sather brought her in the early days and had this thing. And it was a very compelling story. But I was way after that. But I came to her because I wanted to implement one in the club. And we ended up doing it. And she ended up training me and my staff and everybody to be able to do this stuff. But we just found that, like you said, do we do any of that kind of stuff? And I think what happens is that when you start to spread yourself out too much, I think you get not really good at any one thing.
Exactly.
So I think you have to be very good at what we do, which is obviously the body side of things. But what I was going to say to you is that I find a lot of stuff has to do with your ability to manage stress, right? So let's say you're having difficulty with emotional resiliency. The question is why. And so I always remember, like, I won't mention the player because he plays currently on the team, but I always remember a guy coming to me and saying, look, Benny, I'm starting to use this Muse device. And what it was a headset that allows you to manage stress. So the way it worked, so this is actually a tool that's sold around the world now. And there's probably many of the listeners that probably use the tool. But basically what it happens is that you're learning how to control your emotional states. So when you hear birds, right, is telling you that your brainwave activity is moving up into higher registers. And the idea is that, can I control stress markers when I need to control? Can I stay in kind of the alpha state? How long can I stay there? And it was interesting because you kind of count birds. So it's got a competitive element to it. And it's kind of a cool kind of tool, but that was early days. I'm saying now what you've got exposed to is just amazing. Like the amount of, like, I mean, the number of apps that I've worked with that really help serve you to kind of create calm in your life. I think is a lot.
What's one you recommend?
Well, so like, I knew you were going to ask this, but I have one on my app. I'm drawing a blank here on the actual tool. I'm going to look at it in the break, and then I can let you know. But
you can look at it while we're talking.
I was looking at it.
Well, I'm thinking, like, one thing I find really powerful is the emotions are the first reaction to anything. And I think what Kobe Bryant did was, a lot of athletes do this, but he created, of course, we've heard the Mamba mentality. And it's interesting. The Mamba mentality developed during the sexual assault trial because he got so mad at himself for making this mistake. Then as he developed that alter ego at the arena, he twigged it with music. He always listened. I've never listened. I tell this story all the time. I've never listened to the theme song from Friday the 13th. But that's what he did. And you just think of, however you're going to twig that excitement in your body, think of the favorite song you have your whole life. The minute it comes on, you're singing it full blast in the car, whatever it is. Like, and we'll have somebody on in a couple of weeks. This is her specialty. It's called emotional fitness. And it's interesting. How do you use and control and manage your emotions so they can help all the work you did in the gym?
I think there's lots of minor coaches out there because, young boys, even young girls, definitely young boys. We all know the science, the frontal lobe's not fully developed yet. So you're going to make impulsive decisions, right? Something happens, man, kids comes off the bench, he's slamming his stick on the boards and because he's out of control. And he's not like really that, but he's kind of lost his emotional control. Right. And so working with them, because you try to say, hey, Bobby, you can't do that. It's okay to feel upset. But the guy's like, well, you're not even really controlling yourself in that motion, in that moment, right?
But emotional control is a problem
at
an NHL level. Like, because if you think about, you also beat yourself up.
Yes.
Right. So that's probably the worst part.
All right.
Is that you're not able to emotionally regulate. Right. So whether that's a lack of, cognitive maturity, experience, right? I mean, those are left up to the experts. But the device that I was talking about is Focus Calm.
Focus Calm.
Focus
okay.
Calm. So
and it's just an app that you download?
It's an app. You just download it. I mean, you obviously have to pay for the app.
Sure.
But you put a headset on, and the headset has so many resources for you to create different states, but it tends to focus more on breath work And so why that's important is because your nervous system is tied to your ability to breathe well. So if you are finding that you're elevated states, when you go back to breathing, so most people counterintuitively would say, can I really control my thoughts? Right. And then how does so thoughts are reflexive, they're autonomic, like they just happen. And so how can you connect or control breathing, which is supposed to also be autonomic, responsive, right? How do I do that? But it's actually interesting because you can regulate your breathing, right? By intentionally focusing on it. And you can shift and move your brainwave states into more calm states. So there is a way to do it. And if you think about it, everything in life is all about practice and pattern.
Yeah.
And the more you practice it, the better you get able at, and more that it's grooved, so that when you do get into situations where you're facing difficult times, right? Or you're able to hit that default button and go, okay, I've been here. I need more positive self-talk here. I need to now focus in on my breath work, right? And that, I think, honestly, is probably where the biggest intel lies, is players being able to, or athletes in general, being able to overcome the difficulties and the challenges that come with being at a very high level, and recognizing that there's tremendous up and down, there's tremendous adversity with it. And the question is, how do you survive it? And I like the Pickard, I love the Pickard example.
But I think it's, I always talk to the players and say, okay, so we go to the playoffs. Everybody says consistently, the game's 90% mental. My advice to parents is work on that part of the game. Like Simon was mentioning, the biggest gains I've seen in the athletes I represent. I've been in a room, a little apartment in Indianapolis, when Dominik Hasek was in tears. Big star from Europe, wants to go home, sent to the minors, lost his confidence, really wasn't playing very well. If that can happen to Dominik Hasek, and I mean, I didn't do anything strategically brilliant. I just said, look, I'm not helping you get out of your contract. You're the best goalie I've ever seen, but I'll do a deal with you.
Yeah.
I will get you traded. And 6 months into the next season after the trade, if it's not working out, then I'll help you get out. And all that did was give him a bit of a guidepost. Like, he knew he had an out, and he all of a sudden relaxed. A year later, he won the Vezina. Year after that, he won the Hart and the Vezina.
Yeah.
And so if Dominik Hasek, like, if your kid is going to make the NHL, and at 25 years old, he didn't come over here at 18. He came over at 25 after the wall fell down. If he can lose it, that's where they should be focused.
Yeah, nobody's immune.
Because it's back to the intention. If you want that puck more than anybody else,
well, that'll help. It
almost doesn't matter. The rest of it will come. Yeah, train a little bit too.
Yeah, well, you need some
I think of
skills
Esa Tikkanen. I remember being with Esa late in the summer, and my daughter would say to me, with that big belly he had going on, because he didn't train at all during the summer other than a little golfing, and he'd always say, well, I don't train because I'd be tired.
Who's the athlete, the snowboarder that they just did a nice Netflix doc on, who comes from Australia at first?
Oh, really?
Like, makes no sense.
Oh,
I think his name is.
No, I don't know.
But
I haven't seen that.
I saw a clip, and he was trying to, I think, do the first off a different edge. He was trying to do the first 1440 or something like that. Something crazy. And he was doing it initially into like a parachute, right? Like pillows, like he was landing, and he'd built, I think he went away somewhere remote, and, I think he was practicing this jump, and then he realized like he had to cut the cord, and he had to finally hit this thing. And I just remember seeing the clip, and he was saying in the clip, he said, I've never been that scared in my entire life. Yeah. Like, I was so petrified to do this jump, because the failure, if you leave the jump incorrectly to get that kind of launch.
Yeah.
If you land on that, you're basically landing from a five-story fall, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're dead. You're pretty much dead. And I just was curious to know, like, with that quote, like, here's this guy on a world stage, and everybody thinks like, oh, this guy can do it, but he doesn't get fearful. It's like, it's something. No, there's something like every athlete is afraid.
Yeah.
But for some individuals, they push that aside because the thought of not doing it is worse than a fall.
And the point that I was making about Esa was that, is that he talked about the playoffs in July and in August. and in September, and he didn't do anything because he had this theory that he would just get in shape all season because everybody else would be tired by the playoffs. His whole mindset. I remember him calling me the night before the seventh game against Calgary, told me he was going to get a hat trick. Mike Vernon still says to this day he has no idea how those friggin' goals went in. And I said to him, I think it was just Hess's mind. But people, to me, I think we've hit on the key for parents is get some kind of mental fitness training, because if your kid wants it, chances are he's pretty good chance he's going to get it.
Simon, thanks so much, man. It's always good to catch up. I really appreciate you coming out, and continued success.
Thank you so much, bud.
Awesome.
I enjoyed myself.
There you go, Simon Bennett and Rich Winter. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Buick GMC. And in 2026, they're hoping to carry over the success of 2025, not only in the vehicles, but more so helping out in the community where they fed over 500 families. With your help, you can do it again in 2026, northgategm.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Okay, so you missed it. The Buffalo Sabres signing forward Josh Stone to a 7-year extension with an AAV of $6.95 million. In 49 games played, Stone has 15 goals, 35 points. On the ice tonight, you got the Red Wings and the Leafs. Avs host the Ducks. Flyers take on the Mammoth. Penguins and Flames. Kraken, Islanders, and the Caps in Vancouver. In the association, Toronto Raptors continue the California road trip in Sacramento. Tip-off 8 o'clock. In the WHL, the Oil Kings in action, hosting the Pats. Puck drop 7 o'clock at Rogers Place. PWHL, you got Montreal in Minnesota at 5. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and take a look at the Kraken and the Seahawks with Ian Furness. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order
Welcome back. It is Wednesday afternoon here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Always the Gregor Show. Always the Gregor. Always the Gregor Show. Gregor Show. The Gregor Show.
So stay on your couch all day and order oodle-oo.ca.
It's the Gregor Show.
If your New Year's resolution includes saving money, then don't miss the store-wide inventory clearance at the Brick.
Bet over 500
Save up to 70% off in-store clearance items. Buy more, save more on bedroom and dining furniture. Up to 25% off. Save on select major kitchen appliances. Plus, buy 2 or more and save the tax. Finally, a resolution you can keep. The Brick, saving you more. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca. Just think, Kevin Carius has been covering Edmonton sports since before TikTok, Twitter, texting, and the Titanic. We may have made that last one up. Check out Carius in the mornings on Sports 1440. Your game, your station.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Mr. Rooter goes skiing. Sick gear, Mr. Rooter. Are you ready to hit the slopes?
Not yet. I need to report a possible crime.
Oh no, what's happening?
I saw a bunch of hooligans discussing shredding the half pipe. As a plumber, I've taken the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm and act in the best interests of all pipes, whether PVC, copper, or otherwise.
It's made of snow, Mr. Rooter.
Snow? Things are worse than I had feared.
There's no better plumber than Mr. Rooter.
Welcome to Uncommon,
Welcome to Subaru. Engineered for Canadian winters, built for real-life confidence. Tackle the ice and snow with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, delivering the power, control, stability, and grit you need. And when the temperature plummets, you'll cruise in comfort with heated seats and heated steering wheel. All this plus peace of mind with Subaru's top safety pick status for 19 years running. This winter, it's time to get you into a Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca today.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast.
Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa's service department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
Just after 5 o'clock, very enlightening conversation there with Simon Bennett and Rich Winter. And so I love the business sports. We always like to talk about different things. And I love his answer. Expectations for parents. And so when you're putting your son or your daughter, what are your expectations? Are they realistic? And are they attainable? I think fantastic answer. Fantastic. Because, you put Johnny or Susie into this camp for a week. What's your true expectation? Is it just fun? Slight improvement? Right? Because I think too often we have unrealistic expectations. Right? And say, wow, I paid for this and you better be a AAA player now. Well, that's kind of unrealistic. Right? So I love that answer from Simon. It's fantastic. It is the Gregor Show presented by playalberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Whether the game is lottery, live dealer, sports, casino, instance, they got it all. PlayAlberta.ca. And it is Lotto 649 Wednesday tonight. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. 16 million up for grabs. As it's time now for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists. All over the cities, lots of different things going on. Look at the Yellowhead. Tell the 127 GS. They're the main foundation. They build it, and then you go up from there. GS Construction, as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us once again. Spec, good afternoon. How you doing?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Well, you know what? A lot of things. Enlightening conversation there with Simon and Rich, and some interesting, just different training things that people are learning. The mind, the focus, and emotional regulation. I think, which is the key, especially for young athletes. And that when you make a mistake, don't beat yourself up over it. Right? Like, mistakes are part of it. Learn from it. Don't have to go down. So I love that part of it. The Oilers they still haven't figured out, Spec, how to win 3 in a row. And 9, they're 0 for 9 now. It's 0 for 9. And in 8 of those 9 games, they've allowed the first goal. And when they allow the first goal this year, it hasn't been good. They've only won 4 out of 25 games when allowing the first goal.
Yeah, they weren't even close last night. I think if you put in 40 minutes, you'll get to overtime, maybe win that game.
Yeah.
But they only put in 20 minutes, and 20 is not enough. All the cliches that the players have been telling you and me for all our careers about playing for 60 minutes and you got to put in a solid 60 and all that stuff. I'll settle for 40. Well, last night the Oil gave you 20 and it wasn't enough.
Yeah. It was, hey, they came on in the third period, sure. I liked what Knobloch said. Hey, we weren't ready to play. And
yep, they thought it was going to be easy.
Sure, it's going to happen sometimes, but it's a weird thing right now, Spec. And to me, the Oilers are still struggling, and the stats back it up. No one can counter the argument. I hear, but if they win 2 out of 3, they're not winning 2 out of 3. They've only won 5 of their last 11. So get the hell out of here with their winning 2 out of 3 garbage, because they're not doing that. They're basically a 500 team, and this month of January so far, they've not taken advantage of home ice.
No, and this was supposed to be the month, and there's still how many home games left here? 6?
6 and 5 this month, and then the first one against Toronto. So 6 still on this.
And a game in Calgary, and Calgary's not very good. So, sure, you still have a good schedule, but I'm looking at my watch here. The clock's ticking. Like, let's go. If you're going to take advantage, we'll start taking advantage. So, you'd sure think that when you get into the Olympic break with all these home games, you should be able to have caught Vegas, at least caught Vegas, and hopefully be ahead of them. So let's see, right? Let's see. It's all there. It sounds like Kapanen's out for the weekend.
Yeah.
It kind of sounded today like I thought that Draisaitl might be a reasonable hope for the Saturday night game. I think it depends. Didn't Knobloch say he's coming back late in the week?
Yeah, I think Saturday was the goal date. Now, obviously, I don't know the specifics of the illness that the family's dealing with, but my initial understanding was, Spec, that the plan was, if everything, there's obviously flights and different things that you would expect them there Saturday, but obviously it could change, right? Like that was the initial thing, and who knows kind of what if the diagnosis and what it is or anything like that, and how long he wants to stay to support it. So I don't expect him to play tomorrow for sure.
No,
I think Saturday was the goal, but might not be Monday. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So, I mean, he obviously makes you better, but last night wasn't like, if they only had Leon Draisaitl, they would have won. No. That jersey was ripe. They don't score, they're a beatable team. I mean, the Oilers played 20 minutes and were, a goalpost away from getting a point out of that game. So that's a game that you really wasted. That Jersey team isn't going very good, and I'm not sure that they are that good. And you let them off the hook in your barn. They won 2-1. You didn't get a loser point out of it. So, yep, it's, pick her up, man. That's all I can tell you is you got to pick it up.
Spec, one guy, I had Ty Emberson on the show earlier today, a player who's played very well this season, like very well within what his role. He's averaging a minute more per game this year. His goals against are down significantly. He's playing more, right?
Yep.
He talked about how that injury in San Jose, he didn't really get to train how he wanted. And so last year he felt like maybe he wasn't as quick as he wanted. And, there's still some learning curves. It was kind of extension of his rookie season. He learned a lot. And, this summer was healthy, and he really wanted to focus on his puck touches. He's talked about how he's been able to get on the ice early with Connor Allen and really working on just kind of making, maximizing his puck touches. He's not somebody who has the puck on his stick a lot, as he alluded to. So when he does, you want to make the most of it. And I'll say, like, you look at Ty Emberson, he's kind of been playing, top 4 minutes here lately, and he's looked really good. He hasn't looked, his increased ice time hasn't led to him looking more uncomfortable.
Yeah, you love that with a young defenseman because you never know. I mean, I remember going, every time these young guys come in, we want to label them. Well, this guy, maybe he'll be a number 4. And this guy, he looks like he's a 5'6", and that's it. Or, you know what? Who knows what a young defenseman could turn into? And I would say this to you, Jay, that playoff run that he goes on last year and played, my recollection, he played most of the games. I don't know how many he sat. I think he sat out a couple, but he played most of them. That's invaluable, because you look back and you say, hey, I played in those playoff games. I played in the Stanley Cup final. I handled myself okay. That's a huge confidence builder. And now you watch him, right? The puck's on his stick and he's looking to do the right thing with it and he's making a play. And the other night I was watching him, one of the oldest things like I was a young kid as a defenseman. And I remember a coach telling me, if you look up and everyone's covered, that probably means there's room to skate. And I watched him the other day. He took the puck and he looked around and didn't have a pass. He skated that thing up over center and, just looked very comfortable doing it. So yeah, he's growing, right? He's growing, he's improving. There's one of those sly little trades that Stan Bowman's made. We always talk about how he hasn't been great on July 1st, but boy, the Embersons, the Podkolzins, the Connor Ingrams, he's made some pretty sharp trades along the way.
Oh, yeah, like the smaller deals for sure, right? Those ones have worked out way more than the
what did he pay for Emberson? I can't even remember.
Well, he was part of the Cody Ceci deal, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so they offloaded Ceci, and then they got Ty Emberson in that trade.
Pretty good.
Younger defenseman, 100%, right? And infinitely cheaper. And so it's it's worked out for him. Now, Emerson didn't play in the I don't think he played after the Vegas series, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and check. But he's still and he's a rookie. Like, rookies don't play a lot. Like, I'm not expecting both Matt Savoy and Ike Howard to play in the playoffs, maybe only one of them. And depending on what they do with the trade deadline spec, the other one might only be playing like some of the games. That's how it is on a Stanley Cup contender. There's very few rookies in the lineup. It's not a knock, it just is. But Ty Emberson, there's improvement. And, you look at where his game's at and you say, hey, okay, this guy's really solidified himself. Now, I have a question for you with, Alec Regula comes in and, he only played 2.5 minutes because the coach even outlined that before. He didn't expect to play him very much, right? They just, the way the other six are playing, they want to play him. So do you think the Oilers, obviously it's not a main priority, but if you got the cap space, do you think they need to add a veteran defenseman as a number 7 who they have more faith in than Regula?
Yeah. If you're going to try to win a cup, I think that's that's something you'd like to do. The cap space is so up in the air right now, and then what becomes your priorities? Like, do you decide that you can live with your defense and you got to get that, we talk about that left winger. You need the left winger first and then maybe a defenseman.
Yes.
Probably that's your priority. But first of all, we know this, to make a proper playoff run, and you're right, Emerson only played 9 games last year. So I was at all those games. It doesn't mean I was paying attention. Anyone will tell you that to make a decent playoff run, you need 8, maybe 9 defensemen that can play. So, let's look at what the Oilers have right now. I mean, there's 5-6 guys are, Emberson, Stastny, and then Regula. So I'm looking at that team and I'm saying, yeah, they could use a veteran defenseman. Obviously Kulak's gone and that hurts because he's a solid citizen, man. But yes, if you think you're going to play 4 rounds, I'm going to say to you, yeah, you better find you can get a veteran for a 4th round pick. So it's pretty attainable if you can fit him under your cap, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, if Riley Stillman's my 8th defenseman spec, I might play him ahead of Regula. I didn't mind Riley Stillman at all. He's got more NHL experience, right? He's playing more. So, I do think they would add another one at the NHL level.
I like a guy that's I'd like a guy that's an NHL defenseman right now. That's what I want. I don't want a guy that's been in the minors all the time or anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, the challenge then would be that if they do that, then they're going to have to put Regula on waivers because they don't have room on the roster to carry 8 right now. And so there's, you got to weigh the options on that one. Maybe the longer he doesn't play, maybe someone doesn't claim him. We'll see. Right, because there's if you're not going to play him and you want to win the cup, then you might have to be willing to risk to lose him on waivers potentially. So we'll see where that goes. In the regard, who knows? Maybe he's part of a deal going the other way, right? Where you get a player back and you might get a better player, and so you can ship him out. So there's always
I get it, and you do. You got to give something up to get something, and sometimes that means you got to risk putting the guy on waivers to make a trade, and we all understand that. I look at Regula and I think, why can't he be Emberson? We've been raving about how much
I've said that
Emberson's made. Why can't? And he's bigger. He's a bigger player. I don't mind him a bit. So I'm not looking to lose Regula. No. I'm not looking to waive him, but if you have to, man, sometimes there's casualties, right?
Yes, no, 100%. Hey, I've said that all year long. Last year, people were like, "Oh, Emerson's junk. He's never going to be." I'm like, guys, it's the NHL.
Yeah, slow down.
You guys take a long time to figure it out, especially for in the case of Regula, he missed a whole year of hockey, right? More than a year. So it's not just easy to just jump back in to it. And I'm sure, hey, it's harder. Then you get into that vortex of, well, now I'm not playing very much. Now I'm scared to make a play, which ends up make more mistakes, and it's a vicious cycle for sure.
I agree.
Quickly, I had to chat with Matthias Ekholm today because Jonas Brodin out the Olympics. Now, there's a few other guys, right? I think selfishly for the Edmonton Oilers, they don't want Ekholm going. Let Lindholm go out of Boston, right? Let Svensson go out of Detroit. You'd rather have your 35-year-old defenseman on a vacation for a week and resting up for 3 weeks, even though it would be a thrill of a lifetime and he'd want to go. But I almost kind of got the sense back that he doesn't think he's even going to be one of the guys called to go, even if Hedman doesn't go, because that would be 2 D-men down.
Yeah, it's the 2 guys that he's with are all the lefties in terms of Brodin's a lefty and he's a defensive guy. So to me, Ekholm slots perfectly in there because he's a lefty and he's a defensive guy.
Yeah.
Sam Hallam, the coach for Sweden, it's fairly well known, if not on the record, off the record, that he's not a huge Ekholm fan. And, I guess maybe I'm showing my familiar. I'm not going to say I'm biased, but I'm very as are you. I'm very familiar with Ekholm, not just as a player. All our listeners watch him play too, but as a person and as a guy and as a leader. And I know Sam Hallam a little bit. I've been out. I had dinner with him one time with a bunch of guys and a couple of beers, and he's a hell of a guy. I don't get it, how you can look as a head hockey coach at Matthias Ekholm and say, I don't really like that guy. Like, you could tell me he's a little old, or you could tell me, oh, he was hurt. But the way he's playing right now, he's playing really good. I question what's there not to like about Matthias Ekholm? My goodness, I don't see a lot of holes. I know he's older, like he's not 26 anymore, but man, oh man, it's a good player. So I'm not expecting Ekholm to get the call from the Olympic team. And as you point out, I'm not sure he's expecting that call either. But I think they're making a mistake. That's what I would say to you.
All right.
Wouldn't you? What do you think? What wouldn't you like about Matthias Ekholm?
Well, there's nothing that I don't like about him at all. I think that Lindholm skates better right now, and that might be what the coach likes. But you give me a reason on what I don't like about Matthias Ekholm? Nothing. I think Matthias Ekholm's heck of a player, no question about it. But it is funny how all it takes is one guy not to like a certain guy, and
especially when he's the head coach.
Yeah. So and I think part of that was made up at Four Nations, right? So and he's
where Ekholm was sick as a dog.
Yeah, right. And
Sick
so
as a dog. Couldn't even barely speak.
Yeah. But I think it's probably better for Edmonton, honestly, Spec. It's better for Edmonton and Ekholm for him not to go, for sure.
No, it's better for Edmonton, but I feel for a 36-year-old guy who's never played in the Olympics before, and this is his last shot because he ain't going at 40.
No, that's very true.
So this is it, and it's kind of slipping through his fingers, and I know I'm not telling you it's killing him, but he didn't like it much. He was really, I think he had his heart set on it.
100%. Yeah, it's disappointing for sure. Yes. Spec, have a good one. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll talk little Penguins.
Sounds good, Jay.
Yeah, and no Stu Skinner because he's starting tonight in Calgary, so unlikely that he will start in Edmonton tomorrow night. Quick break. When we return, we'll talk a little Kraken Seahawks with Ian Furness.
Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, you in South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
The new double cheesy melt at McDonald's. We're talking 2 juicy, mouth-watering 100% Canadian beef patties, 2 slices of cheesy goodness, with even more melty, cheesy sauce on top. Topped with pickles, then crispy and grilled onions. The way it all comes together, you don't just eat it, you melt into it. The double cheesy melt, only at McDonald's. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Happy New Year from Metal Supermarkets. They'd like to thank you for making them your place to shop for metal and for quick, efficient precision cutting and metal bending. If your resolutions for 2026 include a new project, commercial or residential, they're here to help. And speaking of resolutions, I'm taking up pickleball.
11-0. I win.
Great. Now I can nap.
It's best of 3.
Not in my kitchen, kid. Metal Supermarkets, the local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
It's the place for Honda. It's the place for service too. I love it. I love my Honda place. Would you buy it?
Think your credit's not good enough for a new ride? Think again. Go Auto's car loan calculator is here to help. No commitments, no credit hits, just real answers. You tell us a few things, and we'll show you what you can afford. Text credit to 780-777-7777. That's credit to 780 all sevens. Go Auto. We do the math, so you can do the driving.
Every lunchtime, hang with Low Tide. Weekdays from noon to 2 on Sports 1440. Low Tide and Declan Kruger gives you the deep dives, sharp analysis, and Edmonton sports talk done right. Your game, your station, Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Riverside Honda, 59 years and counting as St. Albert and surrounding areas' premier Honda and Can-Am dealer. It's your dream. Ride it at riversidehonda.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.530, welcome back, Gregor. Hallie, Sports 1440, Sports 1440, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having an awesome day. It's time for our big guest of the day, brought to you by Summit Restaurant, located right on the south side in the heart of the Silent Ice Arena. If you've never been, unbelievable place. You can watch the games while your kids play. Curling, concerts, I got everything, and unreal pizza. So check it out at Summit Restaurant. And you know what? Big weekend coming up in the NFL for NFC and AFC championships. It'll be an all NFC West battle. The Seahawks hosting the Rams to talk some Seahawks and maybe even a little Kraken. Ian Furness from 93.3 KJR in Seattle joins us once again. Ian, my man, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Good, Jason. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm very good. You look at the Seahawks, and man, did they ever crush the 49ers? Like, is that the greatest start to a playoff game in Seahawks history? Like, I can't, like, you would know. Have they ever had a kick return for a touchdown to start the game?
No, I don't think so. So, yeah, it would have to be number one, right? Because you've never started out 7-0 before your offense hits the field, and before the other team's offense hits the field, play like a pick six. So yeah, that was something with Rashid Shaheed. There's no doubt.
It was amazing start. And really, they didn't let up. They controlled that game start to finish. I know the 49ers had some injuries, but whatever. They were very good. And Sam Darnold didn't have to be that good in that game. They're saying he's not going to throw. How much of a concern is this injury, if anything?
I don't think it is. I'm just looking at, they just sent the injury report out for today, the practice report, they call it. He was limited. Charles Cross, the left tackle, didn't participate, but they're just managing his foot. He came out of that game early just as a precaution. But, with Darnold, he said today in the news conference, he basically said, yeah, I'm fine. I'll probably be, take it easy this week. That's not a surprise. And the NFL's really, the thing with the NFL is kind of interesting. They used to have a probable designation for game status by the end of the week. It was probable, questionable, or doubtful. Now they just have questionable and doubtful. So if you're at all limited and miss any kind of reps as a starter, you have to report that and say, limited as far as participation. So I wouldn't read too much into it. He seemed fine. If they were at all worried about him not playing, they wouldn't have put him on the podium today. That's kind of their MO as a staff and organization. So I think he'll be fine. He let a couple rip in that game. There was one, like an out pass, Jason, that went about 40-plus yards in the air. He rolled to his right, threw back to his left. He looked fine on that throw, so I don't think there's a concern for Darnold. Cross, a little bit different left tackle, but they said before practice today that they were going to really kind of keep an eye on him all throughout the week.
Okay. Let's get to the game itself then. The Rams are obviously very good. The Seahawks are very good. This looks like a potential to be an epic matchup. Defensively, the Seahawks have been very good all year long. You got Puka Nacua, you got Stafford. Who first of all, who do you think is going to get most of coverage responsibility on Puka? And second of all, do they have the pressure consistently to get to Stafford?
Well, they don't roll their cover guys over. So, Puka's going to see who Puka sees. They play a lot of zone. They play mostly nickel and sometimes dime. So they'll have an extra DB out there. That's Hakeem and Worry. So, they don't adjust. They don't have a guy that travels with a top, wide receiver. They didn't do that under Pete Carroll either, Jason. I think we talked about that years ago, like Richard Sherman. People were kind of critical of him times saying, hey, why doesn't he travel with whoever the top receiver was? And Devin Witherspoon's their top corner now. He's a Pro Bowler and really good player, but that's just not how they operate. You're not going to change your entire defensive scheme and go man or do whatever if you don't normally do that for 4-1 games. So, Puka's a problem. There's no doubt about that. So they're going to have to be really disciplined in their zone defense. They'll drop guys off. Their pass rush has been really interesting. It's been effective. It's been one of the better pass rushes in the NFL this year. But they don't have those edge rushers that put up double. They didn't have a guy that had double-digit sacks this year. Their two top edge rushers had 7+ sacks. So it's a little bit different way of doing things in terms of numbers. But I think Mike McDonald, he's such a great defensive mind. Sean McVay is such a great offensive mind. The chess match between those two, much like last week between McDonald and Shanahan, is going to be fantastic.
Well, yeah, that's always, the coaching comes into it for sure as you get to conference finals. How about offensively? I know they lost Charbonnet, but Walker's I really like him. He's a really good player. We saw what happened there. Without Charbonnet, he just picks up the slack. It's a really good problem to have. Do you think he re-signs in Seattle, or does this playoff maybe take him out of the mix and he tests free agency?
Well, yeah, I think he becomes a priority to re-sign. I think that's the thing, because with the injury to Charbonnet, even if they were thinking Charbonnet can be, a lead back and take the full load next year, he's not going to be back until maybe October. It's good. He's going to miss for sure. All of summer, all of training camp, and Charbonnet's a solid back. He's not Ken Walker. Ken Walker's just different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I think you saw that. You see that, obviously. We've been saying that for a while here in Seattle. It's like, why are they sharing carries? But in today's NFL, you don't have a lot of guys that, it used to be you could look at the stats at the end of the year and there'd be a whole bunch of dudes with 350 carries. You don't see that anymore. And so you kind of need two backs. But Walker is a difference maker in terms of the ability to break off longer runs. His make you miss ability is through the roof. And I think he becomes a part now. In terms of what it's going to cost, because we don't know, what the market. There's a lot of guys out there. Rico, there's a whole bunch of running backs that are out there right now that are going to be free agents. So I'll be curious to see, what the market is. Teams in the NFL are reluctant to spend a lot of money on running backs, and part of it is the durability factor. And then, at the same time, you can go, well, invest in Saquon Barkley seems to have paid off pretty well for Philadelphia, although he had a down year this year. Derrick Henry, I've seen him take over games even as he gets a little bit older. So, I'm not saying Walker's those guys, but, I just kind of looking through here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, since you brought it up, there's 4 guys in the NFL this year that had over 300 carries. And, a couple others in the 280 range, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley. Like, you've got to have 2 backs. You just have to have 2 backs. And I think Seattle will find a way to get him under contract.
Inferness joins us from Seattle. When you look at it, what's the biggest matchup concern defensively for the Seahawks against this offense of the Rams?
Well, Puka is the obvious one, right? Because he just finds a way to get open. He's really smart. I think he learned a lot from Cooper Kupp when he was there. Not the most athletic, not the fastest guy in the world, and yet there he is. It's like, hey, number 12 is wide open again. How do you find that hole in the defense? He just does. Stafford's playing at maybe his best football of his career, and that's a guy that's a Super Bowl champion. He's going to be the MVP, I think, in the league this year for a reason. But Puka is a problem. Seattle's been good in that regard with Eamon and Witherspoon. Rick Wollins really come on as of late. Josh Jobe played well. Their secondary guys have been good, but Puka's a problem. Kyron Williams, a running back, can get going a little bit, but boy, there's a team that just shut down Christian McCaffrey basically 2 weeks in a row. The week in between when Seattle didn't play, and the last 2 games for Seattle were both against McCaffrey, and he was a non-factor in both those games. So I think Puka's always the problem. Devontae Adams is playing well. They do use 3 tight ends. They play a lot of 13 personnel with 3 tight ends, and the former Seahawk Colby Parker he's been really good. We've always liked Colby here. He's big body, he's athletic. So they got a lot of weapons, Jason, on offense. Like to narrow it down to one is hard, but if you're just going to narrow it down to one, it would be Puka.
Okay. You look at it. Give me a reason why the defense of the Rams could disrupt the Seahawks offense.
Jared Verse and their edge rushers, really good. They come off the edge really well. Their defensive line is stout. Landman and their linebacker is really good. Landman, I keep wanting to call him Landman after the show. Landman is really good. Their secondary is not great, and I think that's where Seattle can take advantage. If they can give Darnold the time to throw, I think that they can take advantage in terms of the secondary. Their corners aren't outstanding. Quentin Lake, the safety, missed practice today with an illness. Wasn't even at the facility, so I assume he'll play and get back. The way the NFL works, they'll pump him through, whatever IVs they've got to, but he probably won't be feeling great. He could be a difference maker, thumper on the back end, but their corners aren't great. So, their defense, listen, in every way, shape, or form, this is a better football team than they saw last week with the 49ers. They're better on defense than the 49ers. They're better on offense than the 49ers. The quarterback's better, et cetera, et cetera. So it will not look like last week in terms of the score. So I think both teams can look over there and say, like, if you're the Rams, what are the problems you're going to face with Seattle? And they go through a long list of things, and the same thing here. But yeah, I think if there's one weakness for the Rams, it's their secondary. But the question is, can you keep Darnold clean and give him the opportunity to have some of those deeper routes develop?
Let's quickly switch over to the Kraken, Ian. And, they had a little bit of a run. They're still not a team that's overly dangerous offensively. I look at a guy in a season where there's not a ton of available top 6 forwards, Jordan Eberle in the Kraken. And, the Kraken are currently outside a playoff spot. Not by far. It's 2 points. What do you think's the plan for the Kraken? Are they looking to sell? Are they going to try to, just battle their way into a wild card spot? Would they be adders? What do you think's going to happen here in the next few weeks for this team?
Man, I wish I knew. We've talked about that all the time, on the air, off the air, during our pregame show. I mean, I know this, and listen, this is going to sound goofy, right? Because I think a lot of teams, unless you're in beautiful British Columbia right now, will say the same thing. Making the playoffs is a priority. Just getting there is a priority. And I think with Seattle, I know with the organization, from a business standpoint, it's important that they get there. And a week ago, they were solidly in third place in the Pacific. Things were looking great. And now, as you mentioned, they're 2 points out of third in the Pacific. They're 2 points out of a wild card spot. Their points percentage, which I'm sure you're the same way. We kind of looked at that a little bit more. That's where they trail a little bit for the first time. Their points percentage was up there pretty good for a while, but they've, with this little skid they've hit, they've lost that. So they've got big decisions, whether it be Eberle, Jaden Schwartz. I am pretty sure they're going to deal Jamie Alexiak.
Okay.
I think that's a must. I think that's a must. And that's also dealing from a position of strength. They've got 8 defensemen they feel like they can play. He's a pending UFA. I think it's time to move on from the big rig. After that, Eberle, Schwartz, Tolan are the guys, and I think they'd rather add than delete. That's my guess. But listen, we've already seen San Jose make a pretty significant move, and that had a lot of us scratching our heads a little bit. I don't know what you guys were thinking up north, but I mean, Kiefer Sherwood for that price. I know this team could have certainly paid it. They've got a lot of draft picks over the next couple of years, so I think we'd all like to see him be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, well, that doesn't really ever seem to be the MO of Ron Francis, and I just wonder if that's going to hurt them. So,
well, it's not. But remember, it's not Ron Francis now.
Yeah, no,
it's Jason Botterill.
Yeah, that's true.
And
but
Ron, and I can tell you for a fact, it is Bots. It's not Ron.
Okay.
Is more of an advisor.
Okay.
It's 100% Bots' call. So it's not Ronnie. It's Bots. And so yeah, we're trying to figure that out. So I think he was a little bit. I think he erred on the side of caution, maybe a little more conservative in his last job. So, and that's what we've seen so far. Now he did deal Marchment. You know, and like that was an issue on a lot of levels, and it was finally like, you know what, we're gonna just cut bait and be done with it and cut our losses, and so he did do that. But I think honestly, I think this is the same way for a lot of teams, especially in really both conferences, right? I mean, it's such that murky middle is just so
murky.
It's such the middle. Yeah, it's just it's like, who are you? Like all these teams, like and. So I think everyone's kind of in that same boat. Like the next 8 games before the break will tell a lot for Seattle. I mean, they got the Islanders tonight and Anaheim on Friday and then New Jersey on Sunday. If they don't win 2 of those 3, or I'd say it's a pivotal little stretch. I think they almost need to go at least 2-0-1 in this stretch, Jason. Or if not, then I think you'd call me back when we start having what's the sale look like.
Yeah. All right. Ian, good stuff, man. Enjoy the game. It's going to be loud in Seattle. That's the one thing I know for sure. Should be a hell of a match on Sunday. Enjoy it.
I will, man. Thank you so much, Jason. Talk to you soon. See ya.
I betcha. There's Ian Furness joining us from Seattle. Quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints, are excited to be back on the ice at the brand new Thompson Family Arena. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best junior hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $10 to $17 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sgsaints.ca. Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
It's the best Honda, it's the place for service too. I love my Honda taste. Would you buy?
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Oh, Canada. Jiffy Lube is here to keep you moving through mornings like these. Full synthetic oil changes, quality Pennzoil products, tire checks, battery tests, and everything else your car needs to get through our winters. Stop by Jiffy Lube for fast, easy, warranty-approved service. No appointment, no hassle. Just dependable service right when you need it. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving through this.
Does your New Year's resolution include saving money? Then don't miss the store-wide inventory clearance at the Brick. Save up to 70% off in-store clearance items. Buy more, save more on bedroom and dining furniture. Up to 25% off. Save on select major kitchen appliances. Plus, buy 2 or more and save the tax. Finally, a resolution you can keep. The Brick, saving you more. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EWEL. Get your power play amped up with EWEL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EWEL.ca is your partner in power.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Set to wrap things up. Final countdown on a Wednesday afternoon. Tomorrow, lots of Penguins talk. Crosby in town. Malkin, no Stuart Skinner, we assume anyway, because he's starting tonight in Calgary for the Flames. The Oilers won't have Draisaitl back yet for tomorrow's game, but they're hoping for Saturday. Now, let's get to the 2-minute warning. Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, take it away.
What the H? Family show here, so keep your coffee mugs filled and your expectations reasonable. Uncle Walt, we need to talk. The Edmonton Oilers. 3 games in a row. Can they do it? Apparently not. You know what this reminds me of? Trying to find parking at West Edmonton Mall on Boxing Day. You circle around, you see a spot, you get close, and someone in a minivan beats you to it. Every single time. Gregor brought this up weeks ago, didn't he, Connor? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Thank you, Meatloaf, 1978. But in hockey, 2 out of 3 gets you golf in April. 4 shots in the first period against New Jersey. 4! That's like going to the legislature building for a tour and only seeing the gift shop, the bathroom, and half a hallway. You came all this way for that? The Devils aren't exactly lighting the NHL on fire. They're barely a pilot light. And yet, there the Oilers were, after 2 beautiful shutout wins, and they couldn't seal the deal. Our poll asked, are you concerned the Oilers haven't won 3 straight? 538 votes, 54.1% said yes. 45.9% said no. Folks, this is like trying to get from Sherwood Park to Fort Edmonton Park during rush hour. You know you can make it. The GPS says you can make it, but somehow you're still stuck on the white mud wondering what happened. Which brings us to the H word, habits. The Oilers need to get in the habit of winning 3 consecutive games. Otherwise, they might be the only NHL team this year who can't figure out how to count to 3. 2-minute warning. Gregor, Hallie, Kruger, you awake? We'll pick this up tomorrow. Me, Tater, Sports 1440.
You know it's bad when the guy who has a 2-minute warning is firing up about not getting able to get to 3. Hey, Cons, that's when you know it's serious stuff. Serious stuff. Could Tater do a 3-minute warning? Oof. I don't know. What would happen first? Tater in a 3-minute warning, or the Oilers win 3 in a row?
Tater stretches it out sometimes. You know?
Well, I know.
I gotta ask him, is it the 3-minute warning now, Cam, or what?
But no, he's bang on. Trust me, it is. It's an issue. There is no doubt about it for the Edmonton Oilers, and we'll see if they can try again to start a 3-game winning streak tomorrow night against the Penguins. If you want to watch the Penguins tonight, they are in Calgary to take on the Flames. Other games, Ducks, of course, kind of behind the Oilers, but they're in Colorado. The Kraken hosting the Islanders, and the Canucks are hosting the Capitals. But they obviously, Tom Wilson is back in that game for the Capitals tonight. So we'll have lots of Penguins and Oilers talk tomorrow. A few other surprises for you. Hope you have yourselves a lovely Wednesday evening. On behalf of Connor Hallie, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Sports 1440, it's the Gregor Show, always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update, brought to you by eWell, your partner in power since 1975. For all your electrical needs, think EWEL.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Casey Minster, the Buffalo Sabres signing Josh Stone to a 7-year extension with an AAV of $6.95 million in 49 games this season. He has 15 goals, 35 points. 1 game underway in the NHL already after 20 minutes. Red Wings and Leafs tied at 1 apiece. Later tonight, you got the Avs and the Ducks, Flyers in Salt Lake City. Flames host the Penguins, Islanders up against the Kraken, and the Canucks hosting the Capitals. In the association, Toronto Raptors continue their trip in California, taking on the Kings at 8. Right now, Cavs up on the Hornets 35-23 in the second. In the first, Knicks beating up on the Nets 18-9. Later tonight, you got the Hawks and the Grizz. Pelicans host the Pistons, and the Thunder taking on the Bucks. The Edmonton Oil Kings are in action this evening, hosting the Regina Pats. Puck drop in that one set for 7 o'clock down at Rogers Place. In the AJ earlier today, you had Whitecourt over Camrose 4-2, and in overtime, the Storm knocked off the Thunder 5-4. PWHL action after 20 minutes. Minnesota and Montreal currently scoreless. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, it's Fox Sports Radio all night long. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kevin Carius. I'm Connor Hallie. This has been a Sports 1440 update.